Gaming news today is all about bad news. First, Bungie has officially announced that their next piece of content, Shadow and Order, has been delayed. Folks are reading the update and getting a very different vibe than just we are making room for Marathon. We're going to take a look and see what we can deduce from what they are saying about the future of Destiny 2. Second, the Ashes of Creation situation is heating up to new temperatures. We have claims of embezzlement and use of business funds for personal use in a lawsuit against Steven Sharif, and now a brand new development. Another lawsuit has been filed by Steven against the lead investor on the project. We will take a look at it and we'll try to sort of watch this eternal slow motion car crash that is Ashes of Creation. Third, I've got bad news for folks hoping to get a Starfield 2.0 update. A recent Todd Howard interview indicated that he is not exactly looking at what they're building. They're looking at it more as an update for people who already enjoy Starfield, which I appreciate his candor, and some of us were maybe doing a little bit of wishful thinking that they would have sort of a cyberpunkian turnaround moment for that game, but given the scope of Starfield, it was unlikely they were going to turn the level of content around that they would need to fundamentally change it. Primarily, this sounds like something that's going to please people who already like it, which really begs the question, how is it going to land on PlayStation when it finally gets there? He also spoke to Elder Scrolls 6 and the engine, which to many is another piece of bad news, but the silver lining is he did say they're going back to sort of a more classic feel. Fans of Bethesda, everybody's weighing in. Nobody really knows what to think or agree with the game being so far out. My basic contention has always been that Creation Engine will really show its age in the next game. It's already shown its age in Fallout 4. I think it is just standing there sort of naked in Starfield. It's so visible that the engine itself is not transcending into the current landscape that we're in, and I think it'll be even more apparent in the Elder Scrolls 6. I hope they end up proving me wrong. So if you like this kind of content and you're watching this later, be sure to hit the like button. We are working on a membership goal on the channel. That is how I do this full time. So consider clicking join, and for $5 a month, you can help us hit that goal. We're currently around 500 people paying for members. We would love to see that at 600. If you cannot pay for your own membership, just hang out as much as you can, be here for those live streams, and you may end up getting a gifted. So I want to start the show with the Destiny thing, because fundamentally the question about Destiny 2 is, will it continue? Are they going to continue supporting it and making it? Is it just getting out of the way for Marathon? Or are they essentially sort of driving the game down or shifting down in gear to start working on Destiny 3, as we've already heard sort of like Destiny 3 had entered early forms of production. So this was posted on the Destiny 2 Twitter account. They said, our next major update, Destiny 2 Shadow and Order, is undergoing large revisions and will be delayed. This update is being changed and expanded to include sizable quality of life updates, and as a result will also be renamed. So that's actually pretty interesting. They're not even going to call it the same thing anymore. They've opted to give it a new name. This update will now launch on June the 9th of 2026. We will provide exact details closer to release, covering previously announced weapon tier upgrading, but also additions like expanding tiered gear to all raid and dungeon activities, Pantheon 2.0, tier 5 stats for exotic armors, and more. Now through June, we will continue to have routine bug fixes and stability improvements, continued portal modifiers, Guardian games in March, and the return of more frequent Iron Banner cadence in April. In terms of communications, we will be focusing on providing you with updates about our live game content, community activations, and general upkeep through the TWID and our Destiny social channels. Thank you for your continued patience and support. We will have more information on our next major update and future plans for Destiny 2 closer to launch. See you, Starside. Now, I've seen some people say that they really feel like this sounds like they are essentially turning the temperature down. They're going to turn the attention down. They're going to downshift their bandwidth and what they're doing with Destiny. It's even interesting that they say through June we will continue to have routine bug fixes and stability improvements and continued portal modifiers. I'm not really sure why they're pointing to June in such an awkward way. Like, it makes sense to say, hey, in March you're getting Guardian games, in April you're going to get Iron Banner returning, but it's interesting that they're looking at June as like, okay, we're going to push out this newly named update. It's going to have quality of life updates, and then for the remainder of that month we're going to be doing bug fixes, stability improvements, and continued portal modifiers. This sounds like they're putting the game out to sea. I mean, I don't want to read too much into it, but this does seem interesting that they're setting it up as if like June is almost like a send-off. Now, that would make sense if they're starting to sort of build up their bandwidth and shore up more people to start working on Destiny 3. Also, the vibe around Marathon has certainly shifted, and they're probably wanting to make sure that if the server slam goes well and demand for Marathon is higher than expected, they need people to support that game. Now, I've continued to say it does not look like the public, the general public, is paying enough attention to Marathon. Vibe has improved. Appearance of the game has improved. They've certainly listened to feedback, but the videos themselves are getting a significantly and noticeable diminishment of engagement, and we saw the opposite with Arc Raiders. Now, to be fair, that was after Arc Raiders did their server slam, so the Marathon server slam could turn that tide. You let a bunch of people come and play the game, their opinion starts to change, they start paying more attention to your marketing. I really do think their first impressions were very poor, and then the Arc controversy, and I do think Arc Raiders is potentially standing in the way. Arc Raiders is even doing an event the weekend of the Marathon server slam. I don't necessarily know if that's an accident, but I do wonder if some of what they're doing with Destiny 2 is at some level in anticipation of we're going to need people to either support Marathon or start working on Destiny 3. Now, I've said for a very, very long time they can no longer be financially dependent and reliant on Destiny 2. It's just going to continue to bring in less players and less money. They're a very large company, very expensive operating cost to keep a company of this size running, and I don't think Marathon is going to generate enough revenue to sustain the entire company. I don't know if ongoing, like a year from now, I don't see Marathon generating the revenue that Destiny did. Destiny was a long-standing game, a very popular game, a very, very highly engaged player base, and they were selling microtransactions and cosmetics and seasons and DLCs. There were so many other touch points for microtransactions in Destiny. I can't see, even if Marathon does well and has a core audience, I cannot see it generating enough revenue to really justify the entire size of Bungie. I also don't think Destiny 2, combined with the absolute peak of revenue generated by Marathon, is going to be enough to keep the company going. I have said I think they're probably going through a restructuring with PlayStation. PlayStation sort of walked in the room and said, listen, we would like you to work on Destiny 3. That is really the only project that would justify your company's size and operational costs. Some sort of a publishing agreement could have been reached where PlayStation's essentially going to keep the lights on for the duration of this project, Destiny 3, to get it to market. I've said for a very long time, I've also said this, that the only way you ever get a true and genuine good Destiny, like a fixed Destiny, the Destiny that they've always wanted to build, you've got to stop working on the existing game. You have to shift bandwidth off of it and genuinely give a Destiny 3 4 to 5 years to really become something special. Pick a new engine, do all sorts of things essentially to bring the game to where it needs to be instead of always trying to do both. They had to maintain Destiny 1 while also building Destiny 2. We know how that turned out. If they do the same thing this time around, it's not going to work. It's one of the reasons why I don't think Marathon was in a great state when they first showed it. It was essentially a minimum viable product. It was essentially an alpha. Well, one of the reasons for that is they were very, very spread thin. Pete Parsons talked about this in that famous blog post where he said they spun up all these incubation projects. It drove the company into the red. I believe they were trying to build bridges away from Destiny. They did not want to spend another decade on the Destiny franchise, so they spun up Marathon, they spun up Gummy Bear, they spun up Payback. They had all these different incubation projects that were either tied to Destiny or, adjacent to Destiny, and I think they were hoping those would become new revenue streams for them, but it didn't work. This is why I think things have been spun up and handed off. You have the LFG team now under SIE. 200 to 300 employees have been absorbed by SIE, and now we're facing a Marathon launch date that at some level has to feel a little precarious for Bungie, with the growing fear that was outlined in the IGN article about leadership's just going to walk as soon as Marathon is finally shipped and PlayStation pays that final amortized payment from the acquisition of Bungie. If PlayStation's walked in the room and has restructured the company, it could mean that Destiny 2 and what we're reading here in this update is entering into its official EOL, end-of-life stage, which will not look like what they had talked about with the continuance of the content and the episodes and everything else. It's likely going to be a significant downshift from that, maybe a small live team to keep things going, squash bugs, push out updates, and, update the micro store so the revenue kind of continues to trickle in as they start to work on the next game. And obviously this is all related to how much bandwidth is Marathon going to get as well long term. Will it be necessary to have a very large team? How much update will that game be receiving as well in the realm of like new runners, new maps, new weapons, things of that sort. So as it stands right now, Destiny 2, from where I sit, seems to be entering into end of life to make room not just for Marathon, but for Destiny 3. But those are just my thoughts. Make sure you're here for the live stream so that you can discuss it with me. And always remember to hit like, share, and subscribe, especially if you're in the live environment right now and you're watching this show. We appreciate you guys being here so much, and we continue to thank you guys for tuning in every single day and supporting the channel. And if you've never been here before and you're just here for some of the news items that are in that thing, you guys can hit those timestamps below. I'll try to have those sections, like if I talk about the Ashes of Creation situation or Starfield 2.0, I will try to have those timestamps for you below. Destiny's probably going to take the bulk of our time during the show open. As somebody who covered the game exclusively for 5 years, it's been interesting to watch these developments. Nah says, the vibe didn't shift. Lucky did a video. The videos are bottled. They did a TikTok last night and it was full of negativity. They removed the video overnight and re-uploaded it to YouTube and it instantly filled with bot-like positivity. Oh, really? I don't know if I would buy into that. Obviously, I could watch that video off stream. I don't want to watch a video like that on stream. I'm not particularly fond, of that type of content unless I think there's substantive evidence. So I'd have to be compelled first off stream. It wouldn't necessarily surprise me. I also just wonder if, again, the viewership on the videos is where I kind of land on Marathon. It just seems like the public has largely moved on. I don't seem to be paying attention to the game nearly as much. They're not getting it. And the reason I say this is I'm not basing everything off of just videos. I'm just saying the general vibe of what happened with that game, I don't think you can necessarily recover from. Once the public makes up their mind, it's extremely hard to get them to come back. And anytime you're doing a live service game, we know you need a very big and full funnel. You really do. They swapped the comments. I saw that too. I'm very interested in this. I'll have to check this out off stream. I don't like pulling stuff like that up if it's, a little conspiracy theory. It can get a little wild. A $5 super chat from Zerlock. I haven't been here in ages. Great to see you're doing well, my man. How the tables have turned. I appreciate that $5 super chat so much. He took footage of all of the comments. Then this morning, they had all disappeared. Well, I don't necessarily think that is a smoking gun. Like, certainly, the interesting thing about that is everybody keeps coming to me and saying, you're wrong, Lono, you're wrong. Everybody's excited about this game. The whole vibe has shifted. I've certainly noticed that on Twitter, and I'm going to be real with you. It feels like a little bit of marketing. It feels like there's people who are likely to be included in sponsored streams and sponsored segments who are suddenly on the Marathon train. That contract ink is probably dry, so they're out there setting up the railroad track and getting things ready, getting that runway ready for people to be like, hey, this person's really hyped and excited about Marathon, and then they're going to get paid to play it. I mean, I'm not accusing anybody in particular, but I'm telling you, the vibe I started to get on Twitter recently was, this feels like marketing. This feels like they're amped up and ready to go to get a bunch of people streaming it and a bunch of people talking about it. There's no wrongdoing there. That's totally legitimate. Plenty of companies do that. Plenty of companies lean on content creators to be out there streaming, covering, uploading videos to make sure their game is seen in the best light. I'm just telling you, the vibe I'm getting, my spidey sense is saying this is all marketing. And if they're going to videos and they're heavily policing the negative comments off of the video, it could be very easy to be convinced, oh my gosh, this game has really turned it around. There's nothing but positive things being said about it. I'm continuing to look at the view count of the videos, the things that they've been uploading, and I'm like, yeah, I don't know, boys. This seems like the public has largely moved on. The people that are still paying attention to the game feel better. They've listened to feedback. The graphics and the appearance all look better. I'm never going to argue that the game doesn't look better. My point is not about what the game looks like. My point is about, what does the public think? Where is the public landing right now on this title? And it seems like they're just not paying attention. And I think some of that's related to the poor reception, the art controversy. I think some of it's related to the marathon thing that Bungie did. And this is related to Destiny 2. I think this is all related to Destiny 2 because they have to figure out what they're going to do with people. They're going to have to figure out what they're going to do with the bandwidth. After what just happened to Destiny 2, the hate's about to escalate even more for Marathon. I mean, to be fair, if somebody is going to be going to a video about Marathon and just spewing hate because they're angry about Destiny, I think it's totally fair to get those comments off the video. I think that's fine. Somebody said something about Burnt Peanut. When Burnt Peanut tried to play it, his chat wasn't having it at all. People cited that with Tim the Tapman and Highguard, he would have kept playing Highguard if his community wasn't so negative about it. You have to understand something. That is just sort of how the market works. If the public decides something is bad or they don't want to see it or they're not interested, that's how they're going to react. Now, obviously, your hope and your thought would be that if you're going to get people to sponsor the game, play the game, talk about the game, your hope would be that they can slowly turn the tide there and get their audience to be like, oh, this game's actually not that bad. That's only possible when they're actually enjoying the game, but more than that, and this is the element of streaming that I think is going to play a role with Marathon, can they put on a show? We've seen this many, many times with big streamers when they go back to their home with their Battle Royale, and one of the main reasons that they typically go back to their home game is they can put on a show in that environment. I think Arc Raiders is a severe threat to Marathon having a large streaming presence for very long. You could certainly get sweaty guys and high-skilled guys like Shroud and others to play Marathon at length if they feel like their competitive edge is more respected. Like, I feel like someone like Shroud would likely play a lot of Arc Raiders because it's kind of good for business, right? But I don't know how much he probably enjoys the hit registration, desync, and things like that. Given his abilities and given his target acquisition and his skill, he might find something like Marathon more appealing. The question would be, are enough of the big streamers that play games like Arc Raiders or Apex or Fortnite or, Warzone or any of these other titles? Overwatch seems to be kind of having a bit of a comeback as well. There's also Marvel Rivals. Do they feel like they can put on a good show with Marathon? It's not just about whether or not they're having fun. It's about the show. It's about the entertainment. It's a business at the end of the day. These big streamers are a business. They're a brand. They've got sponsor deals tied to viewership. They've got sponsorship and promotional deals tied to their concurrent viewership averages. They know their per hour earn rate on memberships and things like that and subs is 100% tied to vibes and entertainment and momentum and viewership. And so Marathon needs to be able to bring that. I personally don't see, within what I've seen in Marathon, I don't see a game that's going to have that longevity, both with the public due to how sweaty and meat grinder it's going to feel, but I also think the same of the streams as well. And a 10 bomb comes in from Neo Reaper. Thank you so much. You guys have today and tomorrow to kick it into high gear to get it to 500 if you want that stream with Madam tomorrow night. And we're not requiring a stretch goal for this. If you guys can get it to the 500, we'll do the gaming news reactions, and then Madam and I will check out Reanimal. It's kind of a Little Nightmares creepy game that you can play co-op. We will check that out with you guys on Saturday, but you're gonna have to kick it into high gear, so make sure you're checking your primes and your renewals. I think between today and tomorrow we usually see a lot of renewals. It's usually around like the 20th and the 21st. Yo, good morning, Madden Mills. After the disappointing God of War, the Eternal of Goldman looks really good. Demo available soon on Steam. I've been really enjoying BlazBlue Entropy Effect X. I've been putting clips on Twitter and in the Discord and talking to people about how fun it is. It's obviously not a Metroidvania, but it is very enjoyable if you like 2D action platforming, and if you're okay with rogues, it's really, really good. Meta progression is really, really solid as well. Marathon looks fun to me, says Gale, but with how they have been mishandling communications in their community with Destiny 2, why should I believe the current structure of Bungie can't support Marathon long term? Yeah, I mean, with the latest Destiny 2 news, Gale, I think a lot of people are going to get on the wavelength that you're on. They're going to say, well, now wait a minute. You guys have been shifting a lot of things around. You've been moving a lot of pieces around. You were basically trying to build a bridge away from Destiny. That didn't work. Now you're sort of trying to figure out what you want to do with Destiny. Now you've moved Destiny to Shadow and Order. It's going to be a different name. So the next Destiny 2 DLC won't even be called that. So they're going to shift that. They're going to make room for that. If they're willing to do that, and break some of the trust there and break some of the assurances and promises there, now all of a sudden you're going to expect someone to come over here and play Marathon and give you money for Marathon. I 100% expect people to feel that kind of way about it. They're going to be like, why would I do that? $5 super chat from Broken Earth. You probably already covered this, but June, the new update for Destiny 2 is delayed till June. We're so cooked, it's over, boys. They supported Destiny for over 10 years. I'm not saying that it would be justified, Eugene. What I'm saying is that if you're on the Destiny sort of fumes right now and you're like, hey, man, I've been kind of holding out, hoping you guys would do something good or at least talk to us, they might feel like trust has been broken. Like, why would I come over there and play Marathon? You seemingly are willing to just like cancel things, push things back, delay things, shift things around. I could see people having their confidence a little shaken, especially considering, yeah, they supported over for 10 years, Eugene, but the vibe and the feel and the content and the player base numbers for Destiny have been dwindling for the last 2 years, markedly in the last 10 months especially. So a lot of those people are going to be like, yeah, I don't want to do that. Yeah, I'm back on Purple. I stream in both places, Zerlock. I got the account back in April of last year, so we're almost back on the platform for 1 year. Winged Wheel, thank you so much for that gifted member. I forgot to shout that out. Winged Wheel bumps it to 142. Many hands make light work, boys, so try to get the light count to 200, and do me a favor, try to get that member count up as well. You can do it with a gifted. You can do it with your own renewals, so do all the things. Press all the buttons. If you can't do a membership or a gifted, the easiest way to support is to be here every day and to hit that like button. So thank you guys so much for being here. A VIP renewal from Rissick, 53 months. He says, let's go. Don't forget to smash the button. Thank you, Rissick, getting us to 143. Broken says, it's been a long run for sure. I just didn't see it going down like this. It's tragic, and it was avoidable, at least to this degree. I don't know how avoidable this was, though, Broken. This day was coming no matter what. This is the tax man. This is death itself, right? It's unstoppable, right? Jump from YouTube to Purple. I mean, we stream in both places. This is the unstoppable force. It's going to happen. Your game will hit a point where you have to put it on fumes and move on to the next thing, especially when you are the size of Bungie. When you are the size of Bungie, you have to consider operational costs versus player trajectories versus revenue that's coming in. These are all things that have to be considered, you know, and I'm telling you, this reads like they're putting the game on fumes. Like, they announced that it's been pushed back to June. And thank you so much. Wired Rope is going to drop a 5-bomb on the total, and he gets us 2 away from the next milestone. Remember, every 25, I gift a single to you guys. And thank you guys so much for being here. And a 10-bomb comes in from Rissick. He steals it with more than enough. That is an agent of chaos. Thank you so much, Rissick. Let's try to have a little bit of a hype train today. Oops, I did not mean to do that. I unpopped out the chat. There we go. Let me come back over here. I forgot. I have to refresh YouTube if I want 2 individual chats going. But this to me reads like they're pushing it back to June, and then they specifically speak to, throughout June, like, let me just highlight the part that I think really shows that this game's about to be on fumes, okay? Through June, we will continue to have routine bug fixes and stability improvements, continued portal modifiers. That to me reads like, yeah, we're getting ready to kind of put this thing in EOL. It's got to coast. That's interesting phrasing. They didn't just say, oh, it's been pushed back to June. It's going to be sizable. Quality of life updates are going to be there as well. We're going to change the name. And then, Guardian Games is in March. Iron Banner's in April. They seem to be fixating on June for some reason. And Rissik's going to bump the line one more to 159. Thank you so much, Rissik. You'll have to watch the video either in Green Room or react to tomorrow. It's kind of crazy. Yeah, I'll be happy to. We'll check it out and see if we can't do something with it, make our own content with it. Thank you so much. Cisco Nabisco with the Prime sub. That 7 months says, hey, doing the thing. Thank you. Boom, moving Twitch up by 1. Twitch falling behind. It's 23-6, and Rissik's going to come in with another single and get us to 161. Guys, if you want to help Mr. Rissik out, or you want to help your various platforms out, you can do that very easily by doing what Broken Earth is doing. He's going to gift one, and Rissik's going to gift another one, and we're at 163. Guys, a member train is desperately needed right now if we're going to hit the goal before Saturday. So consider gifting, upgrading, or renewing. Those are all ways that you can add to the total. I mean, am I reading too much into this, chat? I mean, why would you say this? This sentence opener to me just emanates, this is the beginning of the end, boys. This is the beginning. Had to help Purple out. Thank you, Cisco. Through June, we will continue to have routine bug fixes and stability improvements, continued portal modifiers. Why do you need to say that? That just doesn't make any sense. 13 months from Neo Reaper. Let me add you to the total. Mr. Neo. Did you enjoy Reanimal? We haven't played it yet. If you guys hit the goal, you'll get to see Madam and I play it tomorrow night. We will play it tomorrow. Saturday night. We'll play it Saturday night. We've moved the Madam stream to Saturday, and way more of you have been able to come. Like 3 times the number of people have been in attendance on those Saturday streams. So Saturday night, 8 p.m. Eastern. Set that aside. If we hit the goal, it's an extra piece of content that we do to celebrate the support of the channel. I think the settings is setting an expectation. JD, elaborate on that. What expectation do you think that it's setting? Some people from Marathon went back to Destiny, says Crowded House. They are probably going to push back the next expansion to make sure it lands with fans. S3 Plan says, every game ends. Why is this so dramatic for people? Well, I would say, I don't know if it's dramatic, but I think there's a handful of things going on. Neo Reaper bumps the line one more time, setting up the 10-bomb dunker. We'll see if anybody takes the bait. Rissik needs a tag team partner today. It can't all fall on him, and that'll get us to 175. I'll owe another member. Remember, whoever hits it gets it. So Twitch, get in the ring and fight for this. It's sunken cost policy. You threw your money in a hole for 10 years, and now you're mad. I think there's a variety of responses right now. I think there were people that were probably in denial and thought Destiny 2 would just go on for forever, and this is a little disenfranchising, this is a little disillusioning. There are probably also people who thought, maybe they were going to turn it around, and Broken Earth decides to be the tag team partner with Mr. Rissik, and there it is. Boom, 175. Thank you for the 10-bomb. I think what people are saying, too, like what Rope is saying, if you've been in this game for 10 years or more, it's rough to be like, it's coming to a close, boys. It's like feeling that twinge of sadness when the final season, is about halfway over in a show that is coming to a close. I get why people are maybe being dramatic or sad about this. It was a place where people lived for 10 years. I probably am having an easier time with it because I was kind of forced to let go of this game 5 years ago, unceremoniously, almost exactly 5 years ago. It was February of 2021 when I was randomly banned from the game with no explanation. So, listen, I get it. I understand people being wow, what am I going to do now? What am I going to play? Where am I going to kind of spend my time and hang my hat? I get it. I understand why people are being a little dramatic about it. I'm convinced they can build an excellent Destiny 3 if that's what they focus on. If that's what they focus on, I believe that they can do it because they still have a lot of talent and a lot of people and a lot of bandwidth. I think they need a new engine. I think they need to start from scratch, and I think they need to stop working on Destiny 2 in order to do this the right way. The most common denominator every time they've tried to do something of significance with the franchise is they've always had 1 foot in one and 1 foot in another. It's like, well, we got to keep this one going while we build this one. And that's just not a way to build a game. It isn't. If you want Destiny 3, make sure Marathon doesn't flop. Marathon's on the same engine. I think the issue with the engine isn't gunplay. It's never been gunplay. So I feel like you could use the engine for something like Marathon and probably get good results. My issue with the engine has always been size and scope. Like if they want to do like a really, really big environment or a really big enemy or a really big encounter, the Destiny 2 content always struggles in that department. Think of the biggest environments and the biggest encounters. They're always historically the ones that have a lot of the bugs and a lot of the glitches and a lot of the oddities, get a little laggy, get a little weird. There aren't dedicated servers. It's all peer-to-peer, which, I mean, there's all sorts of weird things historically that happens in some of those environments. So I don't know if they can get the engine to a place where those problems go away. I don't know. The other problem is the one that Creature's putting in chat. The engine's just not flexible. It's hard to work with. The difficulty of a game, like Destiny is you need to be able to add strikes. You need to be able to change the public space. You need to be able to add content, do a live event, do a dungeon, do a raid, do big substantive content. That's extremely difficult with an engine that is not exactly what I would call agile. That's probably less difficult and less of a challenge for a game like Marathon, where the size and scope of the game is a lot more contained. It's a lot smaller. It's not nearly the size and scope of what we have seen in a game like Destiny, where you're going down miles into a dungeon or something, or there's extra, all these extensive encounters and environments for raids. DBS Purge using that Prime and renewing over there on Purple. Thank you so much. I'm not confident they can make a good Destiny 3 this long in Destiny 2, and they still make basic mistakes on their systems and their overhauls, and the majority of the community has already rejected. I've always wondered if most of their problems, though, are engine-based. Like, are the issues that they've had with Destiny 2 historically and Destiny 2 even more recently, is it the engine? Are they just continuing to butt up against those things that we heard about when we kind of got the post-mortem on Destiny 1 and kind of found out what happened? Yo, my man Legend, that's an old one right there. Boom, 177 on the week. Thank you, Legend, for renewing your VIP for 45 months. A new engine would be more immediately beneficial to Bungie rather than players. I think Destiny in general is just a hard game to make, says Crowded House. There is a lot happening under the hood that people take for granted. I don't necessarily even know if it's unique to Destiny. I'll tell you this. I'm not super confident. For the longest time, I have said this. You guys know that I've said this, and some of this is wishful thinking, and some of this is, old Lono talking, because I don't think quite the same way that I used to. But for the longest time, I said somebody out there is building the next great looter shooter, live service game, shooter MMO, whatever you want to call it. I don't know if anybody can do it. Until we can get to a place where there is really, really good technology that can build like bespoke content, enjoyable content, substantive content, and do it in a way that's like compelling and enjoyable and not like obvious slop, then you're never going to be able to make enough content to stay ahead of people in this environment. Yo, it's good, Lesnar77. How are you? Like, the way they do it in MMOs is they make everything really, really grindy. Yo, Archer's Fury with a brand new VIP. I greatly appreciate that so much. Thank you for doing that. That counts as 2, by the way. And we're going to bump the line twice for Mr. Archer's Fury. Thank you so much. There are no games like Destiny. Well, and the few that have tried, I think they have failed. I think the consistent challenge that you're going to see with games like this is, yo, what's good, Feed? I see you in the chat. You can't make enough content. You can't. You either make content that is, very, very throwaway. If you look at like the content loop of First Descendant, extremely throwaway, forgettable, nothing special, so copy-paste over and 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 over again, right? What happens there? People get bored very quickly because they're like, there's nothing of substance here. There's nothing worth paying any attention to, right? So you do that. Or you attempt to do what Destiny has done over the years, which is you attempt to have some substance. You attempt to have some good stuff in there. MickD09 says smash like, and he sets up a 20 bomb to 200. It would be the first 20 bomb dunker of the week. It's been a slower week, boys. Now's the time to go crazy if you've been waiting. Yo, what's good, Square Pusher? I feel like Destiny 2 needs to go EOL to facilitate a Destiny 3. I also feel like a DLC delay is good for Marathon. I think those two are very different statements. Give me 1 second to finish my thought here, because I want to interact with what you're saying as well. Here's the deal. You either do what I just said, and it's super throwaway, super redundant, super copy-paste, or you try to do what Destiny did, is you try to have substantive content, raids, dungeons, what have you. The issue there is you spend such a big amount of time on that content, and then people rip through it in less than a month, like 2, maybe 3 weeks. Yo, Bone Zero with a Member Plus renewal, adding it to the total, welcome back. So you have that dilemma. The other way of doing it is the MMO. The MMO strategy of make everything grindy, make them hit this rock for an hour to get a sliver of flint so they can go make an axe. And then now that they've made an axe, now they can go hit this tree for an hour, and this tree is going to give them wood. And then they're going to take that wood, and now they can build, a staff. And now that they have a staff, they can go and fight the wolf that's been, harassing the sheep. And so you go over there and you take out the wolf. And now you've killed the wolf. Well, now you can get his fur and make a cape or a coat or whatever. And now you can go into a cave because it's too cold without it. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, every single one of those things is going to take forever and be like this segmented, super long, drawn out thing. That, I think, is a lot harder to sell people on. It is. I think the super grindy MMO, I think it's harder to sell people on these days. I think people that already have their MMO, people that already have their home are already doing that. They're happy to sit and fight spiders for 3 hours to get enough XP to go buy a gem to slot into their sword. Like, they're happy to do that. I don't think as many people want to do that anymore. It's Chillwill with 13 months. Welcome back. And what I mean is, do it in a new MMO. I think people will go and willingly do it in a familiar MMO or an MMO that's like having a comeback or something that feels like home. I don't know if you'd be able to get a brand new MMO off the ground with that level of grind in today. I think it'd be really, really hard to get new players. I do. I think it's extremely difficult to get new people to grind like that in an MMO. Those are kind of your three paths, is like the super disposable copy-paste throwaway first Ascendant. You can try and do what Destiny did, or you can try the grindy MMO way. All three of them are fraught with challenges and problems. All three of them. You just explained OSRS. I don't know what that is. But I want to go back. I want to go back to what was set up here. Where did it go? Shoot. I said I wanted to respond to it. Yeah, Square Pusher said, I feel like Destiny 2 needs to go EOL to facilitate Destiny 3. I also feel like a DLC delay is good for Marathon. Okay. The relationship between Destiny 2 and Marathon is going to be a very interesting one. Because if they essentially set up Marathon to do as good as possible. Like, I didn't even say this in the show open. I didn't want to super distract. I don't want today to become about Marathon. Like, I want to make content about Marathon. I want to do a little bit more research. I want to look into this thing where they're apparently deleting negative comments and taking videos down off of TikTok if they don't do well. They're really, really trying to, clean up Marathon's image to make it seem like everybody's over the moon. Like, they're essentially, creating a lot of wood is what it seems like to me. But this post about this and their willingness to do what they're doing with this game, with Destiny 2, it feels like to me they really need all hands available for Marathon. They can't have a single thing go wrong. They're going to need to be able to smack down cheaters, squash bugs, fix problems. Like, that's what this feels like to me. This post here about Destiny and pushing things back to June or whatever, this to me feels 100% like, I'm not being negative, I'm just assessing what I'm seeing. This feels like desperation to a certain degree. Not like, oh my gosh, it's going to flop, but like, oh my gosh, we need every single person that's able to help with this game, whether it's fielding questions on Reddit, monitoring server activity, monitoring socials and streams for anything. We need this thing to go off without a hitch. We need everybody happy, having a good time. Everybody's being like positive about the game and logging in and feeling like, yeah, I want to come back. That's what this feels like to me. They're shoving everything in Destiny 2 back because Marathon needs to be given its absolute best shot. That's what this feels like to me. It also feels like Destiny 2 is getting ready to enter end of life. Like they're getting ready to put it out to pasture. It's the comment about through June we're going to continue to have routine bug fixes and stability improvements and continued portal modifiers. That feels to me like, yeah, after this June update, they're like, oh yeah, we'll continue to, tweak things and make things good and make sure things are running. But that's about it. I don't think there's much planned beyond. I don't think I'm alone in thinking this and how I've read this. Bungie will also be in that odd spot of delaying this DLC. It puts them in the GTA territory with future DLCs this fall. You're assuming those are even still coming. I don't know if they are. I don't know. This reads like this is one last hurrah, and then everything else is probably canned. That's my gut on this. I'm not making a prediction. I'm not saying that I know anything. I'm not saying I've got an inside source. My gut says the way this reads, that's your last big update. I think everything else has been canned. It just, I don't know. I can feel it. It's like, yeah, something changed. Whether PlayStation walked in the room and changed something, whether the internal logistics with Marathon have changed things. It's also possible that like their projections for Marathon might not be very good. I mean, we looked at the pre-order numbers. Everybody was very quick to celebrate the pre-order numbers. Buddy, that game fell off the pre-order charts like a rock. Now, does it climb back up there after the server slam? We'll have to watch. Bungie knows how to measure and predict player engagement. They know how to measure interest. Do you remember when they said interest dropped off for their one DLC and they were very worried? Like the revenue and the financials became a little bad and they started like basically they laid people off, right? And then that led to more layoffs, and then that led to SIE absorbing like 200 some odd people. Okay, track with me here. If they internally know, I'm not saying this is true, but if they internally know Marathon's not going to hit the sales thresholds that we need it to, the server slam could also be a bit of a Hail Mary. We got to get as many people to pre-order this game and buy this game as possible. Because maybe they know once it's in the market, once it's in circulation for the $40, it's just not going to generate enough conversion and enough revenue for us. That could be part of what's going on here, is that PlayStation's in the room now saying, listen, that's not going to do what you need it to do. Destiny 2 continues to have diminished results. It's time to put Destiny 3 into production, and everything else needs to be shelved. Everything else needs to be shelved. Any plans for Destiny 2 beyond June could be completely and utter, like, live service, very, very thin support. If you and Astrocross like it, I'll probably buy Marathon. I would trust Astrocross's opinion on it more than me. It's not a game made for someone like me, right? I mean, I think even Cross said he's going to need that sweet backpack. I don't know if he's probably a far better player than me, but he doesn't strike me as the kind that wants to sweat. Reminder to everyone, if you get pregnant now and give birth on release, you get GTA for free. It feels like they are trying to keep the door open for if Marathon takes off or flops hard. If Marathon survives, Destiny 2 Fall DLC is canned in my opinion, says Alapark. If it flops, they'll squeeze Destiny 2. Here's why I don't think that's possible, Alapark. And I think even deep down, you might know this. Maybe you've just forgotten this. They can't move and be agile that quickly with this game. They can't. They don't have that agility, brother. Like, you know this to be true, right? Search your heart. You know this to be true. Ain't no way that they can get on the other side of Marathon and be like, yeah, Marathon's not doing exactly what we needed to do. Yeah, pull the trigger on the fall DLC. If there's anything past June, they got to be working on it right now. They're so slow. To be fair, development is slow. That's not unique to Bungie, to be fair to Bungie. But their engine and the way that they bring things to market and the way they bring DLC and updates to market, there's no way they have that level of agility that they can, like, a month after Marathon's out, they can call an audible and be like, yeah, we better have something ready for the fall. I don't think so. This major update from Bungie about Destiny 2, this to me reads like June is your last hurrah. Let me explain it a little bit further. Why else would you need to rename it? Like, just think for a minute. Why would you rename something that already has SEO, that already has awareness, that people already were planning on coming? They're already searching for it on Google. They're already searching for it on YouTube. Why would you change the name? You would change the name if the substance of it has fundamentally changed, in that it's probably sucked up and absorbed all of the other things that were planned, and this is the big send-off. I'm not saying that's what happens. I'm not. I'm saying that's a possibility. Smells like Age of Triumph 2.0. Right, Smitherson? You're picking it up. You're sensing it. You can sense it. It's like, wait, why would you change the name? You would change the name if the element of it, if the essence of it has fundamentally changed. If not, why wouldn't you just shuffle everything down the calendar? Like, track with my logic on this. Why wouldn't you just shuffle everything down the calendar? Just shuffle it. Just like, okay, Shadow and Order has gotten pushed. We want to make room for Marathon. We want to make sure Marathon's as good as possible. We're going to shuffle this. That means everything else shuffles too. The only reason you change Shadow and Order's name is because it's fundamentally changed. It's not Shadow and Order anymore. It's something else. I think it's the send-off. That's what I think. I've not covered Bungie in a while, but I still feel like I can read their communique. Like, I feel like I still speak Bungie. I've not covered them in a long, long time, but that I read this and I'm like, yeah, you guys don't just change the name of something haphazardly. You guys like your names. You like your iconography and your marketing. You guys are the hype masters. You really like those things. I don't think anybody just suddenly changes something like that haphazardly. I think something more significant has taken place. Creature says, my guess is they took the Star Wars crap out of it to alter their agreement with Lucasfilms, maybe trying to save money. I don't think they had an agreement with Lucasfilms, did they? I don't know. It certainly has an Age of Triumph vibe. It does. Because a planned roadmap had to be adjusted to compensate for the decline in the engagement with the game. Alapark says, that's a really good point, and you're right. I was probably wishful thinking about that and that Bungie would be agile. I am not trying to burst anybody's bubble. I'm just trying to tell you, I'm reading these tea leaves like Braille. This feels to me like they have made significant adjustments and that everything post-June has been either completely thinned out, like they're just going to spread it out like butter over huge pieces of bread, or it's all been canned. It's just anything that's not ready to ship in June is probably done. Just shelve it, stop working on it. There's no point. Why? The ROI is probably no longer there. That would be my assumption. There is no ROI for those teams to be working on those things. It just isn't there anymore. The money is just going to slow down. Marathon's a potential aspect of this. They have to know portions of their community are going to spend the 40 on Marathon and then basically be like, yeah, this is kind of where, I'm spending my time now. I'm not really interested in Destiny anymore. People have really moved on from Destiny. A lot of people here have. A lot of people have publicly done it and said it, and you can look at the player numbers. I definitely agree with you, says CJ, but I think they are going big. Whatever they have to try to save the game, I think will push it out to get the player base back. Here's, I think, the mistake you're making, CJ. I don't think they're trying to save the game, brother. I think they're putting it out to sea. I don't think there's any saving Destiny 2. They know it. You know it. We know it. I know it. You know it. Everybody knows it. There's no saving Destiny 2. They're putting it out to sea. It's over. It's over. And that's fine. They had a good run. They went further than anybody else could. They treated me real bad, but I give them credit where they deserve to be given credit. As a company, as a live service game, as an experiment, as the frickin' train that just wouldn't stop, the little engine that could. This game stuck it out. They deserve respect for that. They deserve some credit for that. But it's over. It's over, boys. How do you make content when you've run out of ideas? I mean, I think if they did a Destiny 3, they'd really, really have to, I don't know. They'd really, really have to start over, I think. It'd have to be a fresh start. It'd have to be a new universe. You'd have to do something with the Guardians to where you have nothing. All subclasses, everything you assume about Destiny would have to fundamentally change. Yo, what's good, Nitro Fusion? True, I just hope, says CJ. This update's not bringing anybody back, says Prosy. Yeah, listen, y'all. I'm not about to dance on the grave of Destiny 2. I'm not about to do that. I can be petty, but I'm not going to be petty because I'm wearing this shirt for a reason. I didn't wear this shirt accidentally, right? The King's Fall raid was a turning point. Not just in my career, it was a turning point in my life. Like, it fundamentally altered the course of where I ended up professionally and where everything happened. Like, how everything happened for me. I don't sit main stage E3 and get to interview developers like a dream come true as a creator. I don't get to do that in 2019 if it wasn't for Destiny and the King's Fall raid, right? You can tell me I had the chops back then, and you can tell me I was a good broadcaster for being so fresh and so green. The King's Fall raid changed things for me. This game changed things for me, and I'm never going to forget that, and I'm never going to minimize that, right? I've definitely released it, grieved it, moved past everything that have happened. I hope other people can someday do that, but it's over. It's over, boys. You can feel it in the air. Chris with a $10 super chat. They're all about they're about to Old Yeller D2. Said, I know they won't try to throw away the IP. Oh, that being said, I know they won't try and throw away the IP. Here, let me set the super chat goal because I'll add to the total. Let's see. I'll add a member. I will add a member. If we can hit this goal. There we go. 5 super chats and I'll do it. The super chat's got to be $5 or higher though for the goal. I used to skip some classes in college during big updates like Rise of Iron to watch your input. Oh, Rail Mango, I remember you. I remember your name. Yeah, you've been following me since 2016, brother. That's incredible. That's some folks call that a decade. That's 10 years ago. Destiny 3 has to have original Guardians die and the new game usher in a new era of Guardians. There's already a narrative threads to our characters dead. Could have helped. Here's what I think you would do. Do you remember how Destiny 1 starts with a ghost waking you up that basically says that you've been dead for a long time? I think that's how you start Destiny 3. You jump hundreds of years and everything is fundamentally changed. And we're being woken up once again. Like that's how I would do it. So you have your Guardian, you have your history, and you jump hundreds of years into the future. So everything's different now. Your subclasses have dramatically changed. Weaponry has dramatically changed. All of it. Ordnance, grenades, all sorts of things could be added and changed, updated. Enemies, all of it. You've got to jump forward. And the way to jump forward is to kill us. And then you bring us, it's very nostalgic to get woken up by a ghost in Destiny 3 to be like, you've been dead for a long time. And I mean a really long time. Like, you've been dead for 300 years, whatever it is that they feel like they need to do. That way your character gets to stay with you. Our character is literally a tiny god, like no more viable true threats anymore. Yeah, you got to start over. That's how you do it. You've missed everything. That's right. Sony is going to make a Destiny movie, and that hype will carry into Destiny 3, says Prosy. They have to leave the engine behind. I don't know if I would class Bungie as the kings of live service. I don't think anybody said that. Zinthos with a VIP renewal. Welcome back. Welcome back. Get rid of Zavala and Ikora, too. Oh, yeah, you'd have to start completely over. A whole new cast. All of them would have to be gone. You'd have to get rid of all of them. 100 years, make it 500. Yeah, something like that. I think it's clear that there is a Destiny 3 coming. I think it's clear that Destiny 2 is on its way out. I don't think that's ever been more clear to me ever. I think it'll be even more clear when we get on the other side of June. I think we're going to be sitting in July of this year saying, oh, yeah, yeah, this is it. This is the end. Is Destiny 2 dead or is the IP dead? I don't think an IP this strong dies. I don't think so. Destiny 3 opening. Oh, good, you're awake. Oh, you want to know where your light is? Skyrim, of course. Except the Drifter, keep him. You get woken up and like you're awake for 2 seconds. He's like, hey, bank those moats and summon a I'm just kidding with you. You're like, what the frick? Yo, good morning, Perfect Image. How are you? Guys, take a quick second and make sure you've hit the like button on YouTube. That helps me out immensely. We're working on a goal for the week. We're working on a goal for the channel. If you've never done a membership on YouTube, try it out for a month. It's $5. You get a badge, emotes. You get into our Discord. We're trying to get to 600 people with a membership, paying for their own. And currently we're at about 500. So you can help us with that right now. If you've enjoyed this content on a regular basis, if I'm filling your ears throughout the week, just background noise in a podcast, I get to do this full time because of direct support. We do need that direct support to go up, and we appreciate those who continue to help with that. Yo, it's good, FCAT. You wake up and the Traveler is gone. So yeah, I think no more Traveler. Something else wakes us up in Destiny 3. That's the way I would do it. Some other source of power. I think that'd be an amazing tension to have woven into your entire character arc. Something else wakes you up in Destiny 3, and you don't like it. It grants you power, and you're able to wield it to stop bad things from happening, but it would need to be from something that you are not pleased with being attached to. I think that'd be an amazing way to start it off. Yeah, something like Siva wakes you up. That'd be freaking sick. You know, you'd have this really amazing, cinematic where, like, something lies dormant beneath for years and years and years became centuries, and it's like crawling up to the surface and like it touches us. You know what I mean? Terramaster, what you're saying is not that important. Once will do. More than 3 classes, maybe 5. We got it. That's you can put it in chat one time. That sounds actually awesome. Yeah, that's how I would do it. I would set it up to where from the very beginning, there's an internal conflict within us as a guardian. It would be like, the light didn't wake you up. Like, that'd be a shocking revelation. Like, oh, yeah, we're finally awake. Oh, my gosh. And it's like, yeah, wait till you find out what woke you up and why you're alive right now. Jay with $5 super chat. Do I need to wait for the gifted to end to start my own membership? Not if you try to upgrade. It should let you upgrade, and then you can I'll count that as a double. Anybody right now on a gifted, go to the members page on my channel, and you should be able to change perks or change level. If you do that, I count it as a double because we need so many people. Just bump up to Member Plus. That's why that's there. It's $6 instead of $5. It should let you upgrade mid-cycle. ADJC with a $10 super chat tip says, I'm assuming the final update will be like Rise of Iron. They've always got to be. Yes, it'll be something like that. Did you just steal how Sauron came back in Rings of Power? No, I don't think so. Wakes up. Why am I a thrall? Classes should be fluid. One character that can play differently. I don't know if you'd want to jettison that from the game. I don't know if you'd want to get rid of the idea of like a hunter, a warlock, and a titan. I think you'd want to fundamentally change them so that they feel different and yet retain their identities. Siva's dead. Homie, nothing's dead in fiction. You know that, right? Nothing is dead in fiction. Been here since Destiny 1, says Square Pusher with 34 months, and I'm not frickin' leaving. That's right. That's right. I'm not freaking leaving. I'm going to grab the mic. I'm not freaking leaving. That's right, boys. We ain't going anywhere. I'd love to see some traditional MMO roles in Destiny 3 like tank, healer, or support and races. Could you imagine tanking with a Cabal Sentry Shield? Could be pretty awesome. Include Elixni the Fallen as a playable character if you choose to make a new character. The late update for Destiny 2, if it happens, says Nitrofusion, and if Bungie isn't shuttered, then it'll probably add replay loops. GG says no classes use mod similar to Warframe. I mean, here's the thing. You can stay, bro. Nobody's kicking you out. That's right. That's right. Here's the thing. And guys, double check that you've got your like. Make sure it saved your thumbs up on the video. Let's try to get to 200 really, really quickly. That is a huge help to us. And thank you. Broken Earth rounds us out to 185. He puts us 15 away from 200. We're almost to the halfway point. You guys are going to make it really tough on your Friday stream to try to get to 500. We are, I appreciate it, Broken Earth. Nice setup. Destiny has to have space magic. Without it, it's lost its identity. Yeah, I don't think you would want to start borrowing from other games, other identities, and other structures. I think you definitely would want to have it set up in a way where you feel like it's still Destiny, but it would need to be a significantly better and evolved and more expansive Destiny. Through the abilities, through the subclasses, through the weapons, through all of it. I think you'd want to see those things evolved and changed. If not, I think it would not. I don't think it would feel very good to be playing a game like this and to be like, oh well, you know, they just copied these other games and the identity and the soul of Destiny is gone. Yo, Rissick bumps the line by 1, trying to get a little member train going here. Both Rissick and Broken Earth have been kind of tag teaming today. They need some help, y'all. Can't leave it up to 2 people. Hey, Forge, what about Starfield 2.0? We will get to that. We've got multiple topics today. We're still very much in the thick of a Destiny and Bungie discussion about the Destiny 2 news. If you've not been following it, they published this post on Twitter indicating that Shadow and Order has been delayed. Large revisions. They've renamed it. It's now coming out June 9th. I have said the reason they're renaming this and the reason this has been delayed so significantly and so fundamentally changed is I believe this is the last hurrah. That's my gut. My gut on this is it's the last hurrah. And a 5-bomb comes in from Rissick. Boom. This guy is just always doing his own thing. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? He bumps the line by 1, and then he drops a 5-bomb. This dude's on his... He just marches to the beat of his own drum. I appreciate you, Rissick. I used to win the lottery and come in here and drop a huge amount of memberships. Yeah, you just have to win the lottery. That's all you have to do. And I'm sure your first order of business would be to come in here and do that. You wouldn't have anything else that you're worried about. It'd be dope if Destiny 3 let you choose your race and then you choose your class. Like the Hive already have their own. And a 10-bomb comes in from Broken Earth. Boom. Agent of Chaos 10-bomb. That's unbelievable. Rissick and Broken Earth tag teaming, leaving Twitch in their dust. Twitch, you're not even a factor today. Nova Hands comes in with a single. I gotta owe you guys one right now. Thank you so much. Let me add you to the total, Mr. Nova Hands. And a 10-bomb comes in from Neo Reaper. We got a little bit of a 10-bomb train started. We'll see if anybody else wants to get on board. Now is the time. It is late in the week. And Saturday is fast approaching. If you guys haven't been able to tune in those streams with Madam, they are hilarious. Having her react to gaming news. Listen, you're going to want to have Madam react to the Destiny stuff, okay? Madam can get a little snarky when it comes to Bungie. She doesn't have a whole lot of love in her heart for that company for good reason. You know what I mean? You attack her man, she's going to take it pretty seriously. But you guys are going to have her reacting to this on Saturday. Dick Creature says, the only reason I can think of them renaming it is that they've removed the Star Wars stuff from it. That was going to be the completion of the Star Wars story. I bet they just can't justify the cost. Where is there any official licensing with Star Wars, though, Creature? Can you point me to anything? I didn't think there was anything official. I thought it was all very much like a wink and a nod. Is there... I didn't see anything official. When I looked at all the Renegade stuff, it all very much looked like inspired by Star Wars. I don't think it was official. I don't think they had like an agreement with Disney. I could be wrong. I didn't look much beyond I think a poster. The AT-AT? The sabers? No. No, that's not what I'm asking. I'm not asking about the content. I'm asking, is there any indication it was official? Is there any Disney or Star Wars logos anywhere? Any licensure clues? I don't think there are. I think what you're doing is you're saying, well, this is clearly inspired, so Lucasfilms built it with them. Where is that documented? I need an article. I need something. It has the Lucasfilms Games logo. It does. I remember when we looked at all the posters and stuff, I was like, this doesn't look like it's official at all. Lucasfilms did work with Bungie. Okay, then that's a valid theory. I didn't know that Lucasfilms was actually involved. I just thought it was like heavily inspired by Star Wars. Okay, so if they were continuing to work with Lucasfilms and they had some kind of a licensure deal, maybe they were worried that, because we know from the Marvel games and the stuff that got leaked about Spider-Man, dude, we know that Disney wants a good cut. If they want a good cut, it's possible that Creature's right. They're like, we can't justify it. We're getting such a slow response here, such a bad conversion rate that they probably are, ripping all the Star Wars stuff out of the next thing. That's a very distinct possibility. If it was all already built, which given their agility, I would think it's already built. It was supposed to land like next month. So it'd be really weird to rip out a bunch of stuff that's already built to be like, oh no, we can't afford the Star Wars relationship any longer. Like, I don't know. FCAT says, they said the next DLC won't be Star Wars, but it'll bring back the Temu Kylo Ren bad guy. Or Temu. Viaduct literally has Lucasfilm, and they talk about working with them to get the inspiration. Wait, so is what FCAT saying true that the next DLC wasn't going to be Star Wars? CJ says, I hate the fact that and I use that lightly, we've been grinding Destiny 2 for years, loyal to the game, buying DLCs, Eververse items, everything, and we're thrown to the side for a new game that we don't have interest in playing. I'm not interested in extraction shooter. I don't think they're throwing you to the side for Marathon. I'm be real with you. That's not what this is about. I think what they're doing, if they're putting D2 out to pasture, which is the vibe that I get from this update, if they're putting Destiny 2 out to pasture, then I think it's for Destiny 3. I don't think they're needing to downscale bandwidth for Destiny 2. I don't think they're needing to shift things around for Marathon. Like, I don't think Marathon's going to carry the studio, bro. I don't think Marathon's going to generate enough revenue. I don't think Marathon's going to generate enough player activity comparatively. Like, if you compare it to, if you compare it to the way that they do Destiny 2 and the way that they need players to be in, like, look at the touch points for all the microtransactions, right? Look at the touch points. Let me accept this. This is worth doing here. Yeah. If you look at the touch points for the microtransactions in Destiny, like, I don't think Marathon's going to be able to do that. I don't think they're going to have enough people as far as players. Not enough players, not enough revenue for, like, the entirety of Bungie to be working on Marathon. Like, I don't think that's going to happen. The most successful, like, the ceiling of success for Marathon isn't even a fraction of what Destiny was doing annually. Not even like a fraction. Like, they're not even in the same universe. Destiny 2 was just an absolute cash cow. It generated so much money that Bungie was out here talking about publishing, opening up a studio in Amsterdam, expanding their own studios, getting into TVs and movies. That's the kind of money that Destiny was generating, okay? Marathon's not going to come close to that. Marathon will always be the stepchild of whatever they're working on. I don't think Marathon could ever justify the entirety of Bungie working on it. I just don't think so. All roads lead to Destiny 3. That's what I'm saying. I do not think they're going to be able to like move through with Marathon to that degree. Oh, not until the 23rd. Okay, cool. I have to keep an eye on the available sponsorships on Purple. These things pop up. It's like a channel skin and a trailer. And a lot of the big guys are turning their nose up to these sponsorships, but, like, we're at a size where it's beneficial. What happened to all that money? They spent it. Heavy Metal Mama. They spent it. You got to spend money to make money. They were spending. They had so many incubation projects. They had the whole... So this is essentially... Think of it like this. Imagine that you're a very, very successful lawn care business. I go to lawn care because I know guys that do this, and I kind of know a lot of the moving parts of it, okay? Let's say you're a very successful lawn care business, and you're making so much money that you decide that you're going to start to take some of that money, and you're going to invest in equipment, and you're going to move some of your people off of lawn care to painting. And you got these guys doing painting, and then you got these guys over here doing like window washing, and you got these guys over here doing, I don't know, electrical work, okay? So what you're doing is you're spending the money that was coming in from the lawn care, and you're investing in these other ventures. If those ventures don't really start turning a profit just yet, because they're in the early stages, they're in the growth stages, okay? And now your lawn care business starts generating less money. Why? You got less people. So now your workers are strained. They're late to their appointments. They're rushing the work, so it's shoddy. So consumer satisfaction goes down. You start bringing in less money. That's what happened. Like Destiny 2 was the cash cow. They started splitting up the bandwidth. They pulled people off of Destiny to work on Payback, to work on Gummy Bears, to work on Marathon. They're working on all these other projects. And what happens? Destiny 2's quality and substance goes down. What goes down with it? Customer satisfaction. What goes down with that? Money, revenue, microtransactions, pre-orders of DLCs, pre-orders of expansions. So what happens is the machine is running on the gasoline of Destiny 2's revenue. It's just bringing it in. It's called greed. I think that's so simplistic, Jakob. That's too simplistic. It's not greed. It was a desire to expand. Like, if you did that with your lawn care business and someone said, yeah, look at you being greedy. You're like, no, I'm trying to expand, right? I'm trying to expand. I'm trying to grow. Like, what if they were successful, Jakob? And they got into publishing, and they started publishing smaller teams games and smaller studio games and expanded into Amsterdam. You know what would have happened? They'd have hired more people. They'd have had more people working for them. How is it? Why expand? What do you mean, why expand? You're like asking, why does the tide come in and out? It does. It's a force of nature. This is what companies do, brother. Now, yes, smaller scale studios don't necessarily look to expand if you're like Hello Games or your Team Cherry with Silksong or something like that. But companies of this size start saying, listen, we're making an obscene amount of money. We should start using this money to make more and then expand. And then we have more people working, right? More money. Do you know how many people right now are working a shift because a company didn't have your attitude? I really want you to think about something, Jakob. Just take 2 seconds and really check yourself here. Do you know how many people right now are paying their bills and feeding their family because a big company said, we should expand. We should make more money. We should build a warehouse. We should build a production line. We should move into this city right here. And then what happens? People get jobs, and they're literally feeding their families because somebody somewhere wanted to expand. You really got to think about this and not in this very just low-level analysis of like, yeah, it's just greed. It's just greed. Okay. If greed leads to expansion and expansion leads to success, that success provides more jobs for more people. It's never just a fat cat buying another boat because, they did all this to make more money. In the process, they would have been having more people employed, publishing more games. It didn't work. I'm saying if it would have worked. There are homies in this chat right now paying their bills with a check that's coming from a place that was put there by a company that wanted to expand, that wanted a new warehouse, that wanted a new production line. I got a guy right now that I'm friends with. He's hiring people to do lawn care for his franchise because he's doing well. He wants to expand. Why? More money for him, more people get jobs, more people are employed. Like, come on, man. It's not that simple. It's never been that simple. That it's just greed. There's too many moving parts here for that to be the superficial way that we look at this situation or any of these situations. A ton of people got hired also at Bungie in this process, and a lot of those people are now at SIE. A lot of those people now work for SIE. A lot of those people are now at a studio called LFG, and they're working on a little project called Gummy Bears. Do you see? Like, it's never just like, how dare they be greedy and how dare they expand. They should have just been happy with what they were doing. If that leads to stagnation. YouTube is here is because of expansion. That's exactly right. Why do you think I have a career in streaming? Because Amazon bought a little platform called Justin TV. They wanted to expand. Amazon wanted more. So they bought Justin TV. It turns into Twitch. Twitch turns into something that's accessible to the common man. I literally boot up a Twitch stream on my Xbox. And 10 years later, here I sit talking to you. Why? Because Amazon wanted to expand. I'm on a YouTube platform earning a living and providing for my family because Google wanted more. Google wanted to do more. They built or purchased or how, I don't even know the history of YouTube. I don't know if it was created by Google or bought by Google. Either way, I'm sitting here right now earning a living because really big companies with tons of money wanted to expand and to do more. I don't know. I can't fault Bungie for wanting to do more and wanting to build more studio space and wanting to be into Amsterdam with a studio and wanting to get into publishing. You know, it was bought. I thought so. I didn't think they created it. I thought they bought it. I mean, if the shoe fits, like, you know, Google and Microsoft and Amazon are like, hi, we're here to buy what you have. You know, they're corporate raiders. We know this. I started working screen printing, but I switched to embroidery in the company because it was more profitable and the company was able to grow more. There you go. I don't fault Bungie for the things they were trying to do. I don't. As much as I don't like Pete Parsons and a lot of the leadership at the company that's no longer there, I don't think they were very good people. I think they were pretty nasty. There's stuff that probably will hopefully come out one day. But they decided as a company to build bridges away from Destiny. I think that was legitimate. Like, have you ever heard any of the discussion surrounding God of War and why Santa Monica decided to only do 2 games in Norse mythology? It was because as a company, they didn't want to be in Norse mythology for such a long time. So, the same could be said for Bungie. They didn't want to be in a Destiny universe for another 10 years. Now, they're probably going to end up there anyway. Because when push comes to shove, do you want to keep your business? Do you want to keep paying your bills? Do you want to stay? You want to have a job? Well, this is what you do. You guys are the Destiny guys. Sorry. Gearbox accepted it. They're the Borderlands guys. They tried to fight against it, and it didn't work. Battleborn's in a grave, and Borderlands 3 came too late and wasn't very good. Borderlands 4 was a commercial success, even if it had all sorts of problems. Like, I mean, it made a lot of money on Borderlands 4. So, you're the Destiny guys. Sorry, this is it. You know? It's like when I try to do gameplay. I'm never going to be... I'm 44. There is no career for me in playing games at a high level or putting together guides or being really, really, really high skilled in video games. I'm adequate. I'm above average in a lot of games, so I can play them proficiently and give you guys feedback and information. But if I tried to become a guy who plays games all the time, it wouldn't work. Why? This is what I do. I talk. I'm a professional yapper. There is not a road for me where I'm not doing that. Unless, like, you know, obviously something tragic could happen to me and I could lose my voice. But, you know, Lord willing, if this is what he has for me, this is what I do. I talk. I could sit here and really, really want to play a game professionally and get on an esports team. Oh, I could want it so bad. It ain't happening, boys. It ain't happening. I'm never going to be known for, like, being a challenge run from soft boy. Just ain't going to happen. This is me. This is the cards, not that I've just been dealt, but the cards that I pulled from the deck. It's what I'm good at. It's what they're good at. You guys just got to do Destiny. Sorry. Dr. Pimp with a $2 super chat. It's the same for Game Freak. Also, they expanded. Well, did they, though? Are you talking about Beasts of Reincarnation? I'm pretty sure when rubber meets the road there, we're going to find out that was basically an outsourced project, which is great. Stop, Lono. I saw you playing Valorant. I was like fine in that game. No one would ever come to me to be like, you got to watch this guy play Valorant. It was like, yeah, he can play. He's not shooting the walls. He's not a potato, but that's about the best we can say. If the lawn guy can also offer painting services that people will pay for, why not expand to increase income? Right, and then hire a painter, and now you got another guy that's got a job. Peanut and Tim are not known for being great at games. They're very entertaining. Yeah, my entertainment skill, though, is in talking, dialogue, back and forth, speaking extemporaneously. Like the ability to just speak nonstop for the last, how long? It's been an hour and 20 minutes. That's actually, that's normal to me. Somebody once told me, they were like, that's not normal, bro. Most people can't do that. They're not going to be able to just do stream of consciousness conversation and react on the fly to what people are saying and have virtually no dead air for hours at a time. That's actually not a normal thing. It's just how I'm wired, right? You may be wired to be a lot more socially backward, but you could slam out some code and do engineering work or programming work. I could never do that. I'm not wired that way. That would be like a robot trying to swim in water. It would be like, it would just sink to the bottom. It'd be too heavy. I can't do certain things. I just can't. That's the point, is if you're Bungie, this is it, man. You guys, this is where you are. Your size, your bandwidth, your operational costs, the only thing that keeps this machine going is another Destiny. Marathon won't do it. I think Marathon will be a good flow of revenue. It'll be a good side project. They can learn a lot. They can maybe get some better chops, you know? You can barely read. Yeah, I can barely read. I have a bachelor's and a master's, and to this day, I don't really know how I did it. I don't know how I did it. I wrote research papers. I read more books than I ever want to, and I'm not really sure how I did it. It was remarkable. And this was before AI, boys, so nobody was doing it for me. Lono has to keep talking to keep the darkness at bay. This is true. That's the that's the reality of what I do here every day, which I appreciate you guys hanging out and talking. So ultimately what we're saying here, you know, with this big long roundabout conversation, you know, we're bobbing and weaving in and out of things about Destiny and other things. Listen, ultimately what we're saying is that as far as we can see, Destiny 2, it's coming to an end. And I think that that's okay. I think they have done a good, at times great job. They've done a good, but at times a great job keeping Destiny going, keeping the content flowing, and they did something that so many other people have failed at. They deserve credit for that. They do. They did it imperfectly. They are a very, very egotistical company. They are, you know, I like to say it, they are just full of hubris. People leave that company and they can't shake that DNA. Boy, they think they're the cock of the walk. I mean, even when they're not at the company, that Bungie arrogance is just there. I mean, you can smell it on them. They all think they're great. I mean, you could look at the way they talked about Concord and the way they internally thought about Concord. Brothers, that comes right from the heart of the Bungie DNA. But credit where credit's due. They did something that almost nobody else has been able to do or managed to do. There's a very, very small number of studios and games that you could say have come close to this. And Broken Earth is going to do a couple here. He's going to do 2 signals. He's going to do one more single. He wants a 10 bomb to 225. Somebody give it to him. This man's been diligent today to keep bumping the line. Somebody help out. It can't just be Broken Earth and Risic all day long. And there's the other one, 215. We're 10 away. 77-7. We all know Bungie likes the number 7. It's very serendipitous. Thank you there, Broken Earth. Yo, good morning, Samuel. It's probably Samuel. Good morning, Lono. I think this might be it for D2. Sad to see it go. It is sad. It is. I think it's okay to be sad about stuff like this when things come to an end. Man, my poor kiddos. My poor kiddos, we are just in a season of loss for them. And I keep telling them it's okay to be sad. When people die, when pets die, and when people move away, I mean, man, my kids are having a rough go of it right now. They both got braces. That's not fun. And they're seeing people and pets die, not even their own pets. And I keep telling them, it's okay to be sad. It is a natural response. It means something, sadness is a testimony is what it is. It's a testimony of happiness. It's an echo of it. It's like, well, something was really great that's no longer there. And I think a video game can be that. I think a community, I'm not trying to have a hallmark moment for Destiny, but I think it can be that for a lot of people. For a lot of you, it was a place where you met friends and, maybe it kept you in a good place instead of going to a dark place. I mean, video games can do that for people, Anthony Robbins says, we need another 38 for 250. There's 500 of us here. Thank you so much for telling people to push the like button, Anthony. Baby Blue plays while the camera pans out from Walter White's face. That's right. Yo, it's good, Emissary. He says, we do know that Sony set them straight. They ain't trying to lose that money. That's right. Yeah, Sven, I'm trying to keep that out of today's show. That's that's probably an upload, buddy. That is, it's exciting, ain't it? We can't talk about it, though. Can't talk about it. Honestly, what do we got up here going on over there on Twitch? What's Ashes of Creation? What's the lawsuit that's going on? Sorry for my ignorance. Ashes of Creation was a crowdfunded, kickstarted MMO that's been in development for a really, really long time. Went into early access in December and has since crashed and burned, laid everybody off, shut it down, and now there's lawsuits alleging wrongdoing, embezzlement, personal funds, business funds being used for personal use. Holy mackerel, a lot of bad stuff. If you guys are just tuning in, there's a lot going on. There was a Destiny 2 update. They have delayed Destiny 2 Shadow and Order. There is a continued drama with Ashes of Creation. We now have 2 lawsuits in play. Also, there was an update from Todd Howard about the Elder Scrolls 6 and Starfield 2.0. So plenty to talk about. If you're just tuning in for the first time, I do a live stream like this Monday through Friday. It is safe for work. It's basically a gaming news podcast. And with me being safe for work, a lot of people throw me on in the background of their work day. They kind of just listen and have that as something to listen to throughout the day. If I do that for you and you really appreciate the consistency, consider supporting the channel with a membership. That's something that we're working on right now. If you click the join button for $5 the entire month, you'll have a badge, emotes, and access to my Discord server. And we're trying to get to 600 people with a membership of their own. We're currently at about 500. So you can help us with that goal by clicking the join button. Will you play Marathon Server Slam? Yeah, probably. I don't see why not. I don't think Thor said anything. Neo Reaper with a 5 gifted gets us to 220. We're exactly 5 away from the next milestone. It's been all Risic, Neo Reaper, and Broken Earth this morning with the 5 bombs and the 10 bombs. They've been bringing the heat, and they need a little bit of help. If you guys hang out long enough, you might get a gifted member. There it is. Kino Man Sky got one, and that's a long-time viewer. You're around on a regular basis. That's a great way to get a membership. If you can't afford a membership, it's totally understandable. And Remo Suave with a $2 super chat says, you're the Colin Coward of gaming. Keep it up. Well, I appreciate that very, very much. It's not the first time that I've been told that. The final cutscene after killing the witness and sitting in space with your fire team was the best ending you could ask for, says Prosy. Broken Earth says, I'm not participating in anything with Marathon. It's just a no from me. Kira just dropped the video last night going over Steven's lawsuit. It is interesting. Quiet 808 says, rest in peace, Destiny. Yeah, if you guys haven't seen it, I have basically argued that this update that they have put out here, I think this is the beginning of the end. Now, Creature's thrown out a theory that the reason they're renaming Shadow and Order, he thinks they have ripped out all of the Star Wars from it, because they can't justify that relationship in the license anymore because they're probably not making enough money. My opinion is a little bit different. That is a very good theory. I'll give it that. I think it's a solid theory. I think it's because it's been renamed because it's become something else. I think they have sucked up every piece of content that's ready. They're going to shove it out in June. Anything that's not ready, I believe, is being canned. I think this is the end of Destiny. They're going to basically put this game into cruise control to end of life, which obviously end of life would be years from now. The servers will be up and you'll be able to play for years to come. But no more no more new content, nothing substantive after June is what I'm saying. I believe they're moving on to work on Destiny 3. And we got some single gifteds coming in from the Singer Bro, gifting members over there on Purple. Thank you so much for doing that. Boom, boom. It's 82-9. Twitch not really competing today. That's okay. We need some of the big boys over there to come back around. Haven't seen them in a while. We'll see if they don't come in and give Twitch a fighting shot. If this goal in the corner hits 500, if you guys haven't been here for this, it's a segment that we do on Saturdays. It is a segment that we do on Saturdays where my wife reacts to the gaming news from the week, and it is hilarious. So you can help us with that goal. How you doing today? Do you think if Marathon fails, this will be the end of Bungie? No, I do not think if Marathon fails that this will be the end of Bungie. I personally believe that we now see evidence of Sony stepping into the room, and I believe that they have basically said, listen, we need you to make Destiny 3. So, kind of off topic, but have you seen the mystery character in one of the newest Super Mario Galaxy trailers? I have not. Colin Coward of Gaming is a backhanded compliment. Oh, is he... is Remo Suave insulting me while giving me $2? I mean, it wouldn't be the first time that somebody did that. I mean, I don't know if they're trolling or not, but, you know, maybe they are. Sorry if it's too off topic. You mentioned yesterday that you were going to be looking into the story regarding High Guard. Anything come from that? I have a video about the High Guard situation. I looked into it. I did my due diligence. And that video, I'm not sure when we're going to put that video up. I'm not actually sure. We might actually try to do it today. Our PlayStation 6 video didn't really do what we wanted it to. And so usually we'd like to space our videos out. But it might be worth doing today. Because there's another video I might want to make tonight for tomorrow. I don't know. We're doing our best with having a live show and wanting to cover things as they break. There was even some stuff, just last night that broke that I'm like, oh, frick. I'd like to be able to get those out a little bit quicker. Like Howard, he has strong opinions, but he's able to say I was wrong. That was debunked. Sorry if it's too off topic, but did you mention yesterday? Oh, yeah. Nothing was debunked about High Guard. I was planning on running it Friday. Yeah, there's just so much going on. I'm not sure. Maybe there's a thing with another franchise that just broke as a major leak. Maybe I'll record that on my own and I'll run that this evening for you guys, and then we'll run the High Guard one tomorrow. Because this other thing I think is definitely worth talking about. I think you guys will be very interested. It has to do with God of War, and somebody let their gums start flapping, and I want to cover it, and I didn't want to throw it into today because it didn't fit for today. I didn't have enough information. It literally just broke this morning. I didn't want to completely change the story of today, because today was more about Destiny, and then obviously Ashes and Starfield. So yeah. Lono is the Unicorn of Gaming News, one of a kind. I think I appreciate that, Sneaky Platypus. I agree. Marathon's a learning lesson for Sony just as much as a learning lesson for Bungie leadership. We'll see. Oh, Smooth Jazz, you're saying not High Guard, Lona, the Mario movie mystery character. Oh, you're saying that was debunked. I was going to say, the High Guard stuff wasn't debunked. It was run by very reputable sources. I was surprised you didn't cover the Resident Evil Requiem leaks. I didn't even see them. I didn't even see any leaks about RE9. I mean, I was sent some information and some screenshots of RE9 that I can't show you because I'm not about to get in trouble. And it's going to be awesome. It's going to be awesome, y'all. It's going to be good. It's looking really, really good. That's all I'll say. Light Leap says, it's not really a learning lesson for Bungie leadership. The main culprit sold the company with all of its IPs. He pushed to Sony, cashed out, and now he left. He's probably counting his classic car collection, and he'll happily bolster a company's valuation with unrealistic projects again if it's for profit. Yeah, I mean, A guy streamed RE9 2 days ago. Oh, probably not worth. That's never worth it. I don't know why people do that. I really don't. I don't know why people do that. Somebody was testing the question command. By the way, I don't draw tons of attention to this. This is a member perk, by the way. This is another great reason to support the channel with a membership. If you pay the $5 a month, you can come in anytime and submit a question with the question command, and I will answer it. Like, it's going to get answered in the show. It's like a guaranteed response. And Key No Man's Sky right here says, wonder if this still works. Yep, it still works. Thank you so much for being here, being a member, and using that feature. Let's see here. It appears to be Toad's backpack, setting down closer to the camera. Kind of like the character, but it's not. Oh, okay. Not just a stream. There's a lot more stuff that leaked. Here's what I'm not going to do. I'm not going to run stuff like that. I had somebody privately reach out to me with information about Resident Evil 9, and they said, do you want spoilers? And I said, no, I don't. I don't want to know anything. I would like to experience that with you guys live and genuine on, like, when it happens. I don't want to know anything that is potentially coming. That I just don't want to. I'd like to be surprised, delighted, and experience all of that with you guys when it happens. We will be streaming it. We will be doing the review roundup next week on Wednesday. That will be what we do. I know that people are really excited about it. It's one of the biggest games coming out this year. So here we got a question from Broken Earth about the topic, one of the topics here about Destiny, and he says, and this, guys, take it back to the OG days, you know what I mean? Take it back. Get those questions submitted just like we used to. Q&A can always be alive and well, all right? Is the question command routinely a sub thing? Or something like that on Twitch? If you are a sub on Purple or a member on YouTube, you can use the question command. It is something we reserve for members. I think that's fair. I don't limit the chat. You can talk without being a member, but the question command is for them. And Cha-Cha Riot gifts 5 members over there on Purple, and he says, what are we doing, boys? Not hitting the 225, and there it is. There it is. I owe Twitch a member. They hit the 225 milestone and then some. That was definitely an Agents of Chaos. And the question from Broken Earth is, with your take that Destiny 2 is going to enter end of life, it feels like a good moment to ask this again. What would Destiny 3 have to include for you personally to be interested? The name Destiny is all it needs for me to be interested. I'm not ever going to go back to being a Destiny content creator. Like, that's just not in the cards or my heart. Like, I don't want to do that. But I would be interested just because it's Destiny. It's like, as a franchise, as a game, as something that I played and covered for 5 years, I would be interested, yes. And if you guys are watching on Purple, on the Purple platform, there's way more people watching today, likely because Destiny 2 and Bungie is in the title. This is the same show I've done for basically the last 10 years, where I just sit and talk and we have a good time. So feel free to make this part of your routine again and come back around. Every day we're just talking gaming news. Destiny's probably going away, but you can still have a great place to hang out here and great conversations and a great community in the Discord. So get a membership, get a sub going, do something, use your primes, and then you can be a part of what we're doing here like we've always done. The ability to fly my ship manually from planet to planet and have dogfights along the way. I will continue to say, as I've always said, I don't think that is worth doing. I don't think that that is within the identity of like what really makes Destiny Destiny. I think a lot of development time would be wasted on that. I think that would fundamentally be, no offense to your preference. I'm not like shooting down your preference. I understand why people want to do it, but I just think it would end up being less than. Does that make sense? Like, I don't think it would be good enough to justify itself. Does that make sense? It would be like, yeah, this is fine. It's kind of like, keep the main thing the main thing. What's your core competency? Destiny and Bungie as a company's core competency is shooting. Do you think they'd make an amazing, like, dogfight experience? Like, I just don't think so. The games that do that well, that's what they do. That's all they do. This is one of the concerns I have for Crimson Desert. It's just everything. It's going to be a master of none. It's going to be a jack of all trades, master of none. Now, somebody left a great comment. They said, well, they have experience with an MMORPG, so these systems won't be that difficult for them to have and create and have depth. And I'm like, you know what? Fair pushback. Are you saying it would feel tacked on? Very much so. Yes. It wouldn't justify the bandwidth and development time. And here's another reason why I've never thought it's a good idea, Bender. Most of the community wouldn't want to do it. They just wouldn't want to. They're wanting to do the looties and the shooties. They're not wanting to do dogfights. I think it would get such poor engagement. It would not be worth the bandwidth and the development time. It just wouldn't. I think a very, very small percentage of the community would be like, oh, yes, dude, we can fly our ships and get in dogfights. Now, if you want to fly the ship and land it and fly the ship and take off to like add a little bit to the idea of like you're this traveling space warrior or something, I'd say maybe. That again just feels like development time on something that isn't conducive to the genre. Like that's more conducive to a No Man's Sky where like that's part of the experience and the gameplay loop you are exploring. That's not really what you're doing in Destiny. You're a god. You just need to transmat down and fight. You don't need to be like, here we go, coming in for a landing. All right, let me walk down, the ramp here to get off my ship. No, dude, you're a god-killing demigod. Like, what? No. Send me down there. I don't need to fly down there. What are we doing? You see what I'm saying? I don't know. That's just where I'm coming from on it, and I think the general consensus from the community and the people who have played the game over the years would likely agree with me that it just isn't a big need within the genre or the game. And you guys are taking us back to the old days here. Bumblepants says, what are your thoughts on the strike playlist in Destiny 3? Listen, those are the minutia. Like, that's the minutia. Like, you're getting down to the minutia. I think the vibe, the identity, the feel, the DNA of Destiny just needs to be present. I definitely think they've learned good things with the portal, like what not to do. You don't want your game to feel like... You don't want your game to feel activity, like an activity hopper. That makes it feel like a mobile game. What you do is you gut the... It's basically like you take all the cartilage out of it, and you got nothing but bones. So everything just sort of cold, like, interlocks and like, rubs against each other. It's all rigid. It doesn't work. There's nothing there. It's just an activity hopper. You don't want to do that. It ends up feeling like a mobile game. One of the reasons I was looking forward to a game called Linked Banner of the Spark, which there's nothing wrong with the game. Experientially, it was hollow. Madam and I would go and do stuff and come back. And then go and do stuff and come back. It didn't feel like a world. We didn't feel like I didn't feel like I had a character that I was leveling up and outfitting and giving gear. It felt like a mobile game. Towerborn, same deal. It felt like a mobile game. It felt like you're just doing this activity hub. Go do the activity, come back, and you're not actually getting loot. You're like you're making your existing sword look a little different or your existing armor look a little bit different, right? I don't vibe with games like that. I check out very quickly. And I do think that like the heart and soul of Destiny would be more intact if you didn't do things like the portal. You don't want an activity hopper. You want a universe. You want a world. You want something that's like living and breathing. And you're going to go in and you're going to go to the central hub and you're going to, go to this planet and look for this guy. You know what I'm saying? Like that to me, I think is the key. The key to a Destiny identity and the key to a Destiny game is not feeling like a freaking identity, an activity hopper. Yeah, I'm just here to do strike. I'm just here to do strike and bounty and strike and bounty and now do nightfall and now do dungeon. It's like no. Where's the romance? There was something about landing in the tower and hearing just the ambiance of the tower. It's generic. It's just canned sounds. We know this, but there was something about it. And you see people running around, and you run past the Cryptarch, and he's like, when you whisper to the void, does it whisper back? And you're like, what the frick? Like, there's you go to the gunsmith, and he's like, ugh. And you're like, what the frick is he talking about? Why is he always so grumpy? There's something about that. It feels like you're going to a place instead of just loading into an activity. I think the difference is, am I going to another place that's not right here? That's what people want. They want escapism. And one of the dilemmas is when you take all that out and it's just an activity, do you want to know what people probably do? They don't feel locked in or immersed. So when they're loading into the activity, they're probably doing this. Let me see here. What's going on? Oh, I'm ready to play. Okay. And then they grab the controller. If people are doing that with your game, you've lost them. There's no immersion. There's no romance. They're not in your world. They're just there for the dopamine hit. There's nothing memorable about that. I think that's very disposable. And I think they've probably learned that. So, is there going to be a strike playlist? I don't know. Whatever they do, they can't do the portal, though. That's for sure. Lord Horde comes in with 32 months. I missed the OG Vault of Glass and D1. Let me add it to the total. 228 on the board. Thank you so much, Lord Horde. Alexander Smith, you asked about the Starfield news. And Zinthos is asking about the Starfield news. I put out a short last night about it. Thank you to everybody who commented and watched that one. I think YouTube was having some trouble last night. I think that's one of the reasons our PlayStation video did so poorly. It's the first time I've ever uploaded a short. It sat on 0 views for like 5 minutes. And then after like 15 minutes, it had like 11 views. It was literally like it wasn't there. Like hours later, it like picked up. I think there was something going on with the platform. There was stuff going on the day before. A bunch of sites were down. I think they were still shaking off some of the dust of that. Like stuff wasn't quite working that well yesterday. Everything seems to be working much better today. Both this live stream as well as that short is now looking fine. So if you guys were having trouble seeing the content yesterday or using the platform, I think there was something going on. So it all seems to be fixed now, though. Siege Master comes in with a gifted and bumps it to 229. Listen, Siege is probably trying to bait the first 20 bomb of the week. He might bump this to 230. He wants to see somebody drop a 20 gifted member bomb to get it to 250. We'll officially be halfway there. There it is. He did it. There's the tee up. There's the setup. He's hoping for a big boy to drop one. We haven't got a 20 bomb yet this week. I think last week the first one was dropped by Loch Ness. It's there for the taking. And thank you, Mr. Siege. So I'm going to circle back on the Starfield stuff. I want to see the short about Elder Scrolls 6 and then Highguard. We uploaded a full video yesterday about PlayStation. Did you guys not see it? If you didn't see it or watch it, feel free to watch that later and use your mobile to hype it. So that will really help that one turn around. It's a good video. It's a relevant topic. We learned all this stuff about the PlayStation 6 and like RDNA, and I was like, can we not do this time? Can we not get on this stupid merry-go-round of like, it's not RDNA 5? Meh. Like, I make a suggestion in the video. It's really short. Make sure and check that one out. Like it, share it, hype it, do all those things, leave a comment. I'll get to the Starfield piece in a little bit. Broken Earth with a $5 super chat gets us to 3 out of 5 on the super chat goal. Thank you, sir. I finally convinced my brother to try Destiny. I was sad because there were moments in the story that could not share with him because of the DCV. I watched a video this morning about that. And I've got so much distance from the game, like it was easy for me to shrug off some of that stuff. But it really landed on me when he said, like, there are raids that I can't even go and run right now because they were sunset. And I was like, wow. What a change to go from the end of Destiny 1. The end of Destiny 1 is their greatest hits. Every week one of the raids was featured. To in Destiny 2, as it enters its twilight years and is ready to kind of, you know, get put out to sea, there are raids you can't even play right now. I don't know. That's just a very, very different vibe. Very different vibe. So it would be really, really weird to take somebody into the game right now and not have them experience like Dominus Gall taking your power and watching people die and different things that have happened. I don't know. Okay, awesome. But why are people going to get Marathon? Probably for the same reason that anybody buys anything. They want it. It's usually pretty straightforward, I think. They want to play it, brother. We've gone from touch everything, do everything to do what we want to do and when we want you to do it and how we want you to do it. Yeah. Another question coming in here from Corgi. So you guys that asked questions about Starfield, I will get to that. Just let the show kind of flow and not like, I don't want to yank the shifter and switch gears. Dev side with 48 months. Destiny lost its soul when the portal got put in. I felt like I was playing a mobile game, so I quit. Let me add that to the total. Fuzzy, in the members only Discord, where there is no character limit, by the way, he says, I remember everyone hand-waving when they had to take content away. Oh, we need bandwidth. The game can only get so large. We will get it back, but better. Yeah, no, F you, I paid for that. I remember that situation, and I know you're not saying this about me, because I know I didn't hand-wave it. I said, we don't really have a choice. Like, I don't think they did it to be mean. I don't think they did it to be unkind. I don't think they had, like, ulterior motives. I think it was literally, we don't have a choice, boys. We either build a shoddy Destiny 3 or we dig in and keep adding to Destiny 2. If we're going to do that, it's like when you rearrange the furniture in your house. You can't go into my room that we, like, watch TV in right now and be like, let's add some recliners. I'd be like, there's nowhere to put them. You got to move something. You know? They did have a choice. They lied. Can you expound on what you're saying, Paul? What did they lie about? What are you talking about? I don't even know what you're referring to with respect to they lied, like they had a choice. By the way, a lot of people are continuing to tune in today on YouTube. Thank you for that. Make sure and say hello in the chat so we can greet you. Consider hitting thumbs up. That helps us as well. Giving a like to a video, especially when we can hit a new milestone. Let's try to get to 300 likes. But y'all are getting Marathon. It's basically us putting the final nail in the coffin for Destiny 2. Artigo, I don't think it's that simplistic, brother. Like, I get where you're coming from. I think experientially, it might feel like that to you, but that's just not the case. Like, I don't think you supporting Marathon is actively harming Destiny. The Marathon plan has been in place for a while. Senior Natata says, raid entrances need to be public like OG VOG. That was in a game LFG. Wasn't Wrath of the Machines entrance was public too, remember? Like throwing the charges? Yo, what's good, Rise? Sven says, I tried getting my buddy into Destiny 2, and he said the new onboarding experience was awful as someone that knows nothing about the game. You remember when we had Madam playing it? I almost called her Mama, because that's what I call her. We had Madam playing it. It was terrible. It was terrible. It was like, here's an exclamation point. Here's a flashing icon. Here's a flashing icon. You're like, oh my gosh. What? Go away. Wrath was a private instance. Oh, you're right. It took place in a public space where, like, you could go there, but it was a private instance. Like, somebody couldn't, like, wander into your raid like they could with VOG. You're right. Wrath is still the best raid. I don't care what anybody says. More money going to Bungie, surely a good thing for the Destiny franchise. I get why somebody would feel like, yeah, you're actively moving people or moving funds or moving attention away from, from Destiny by supporting a project like Marathon. I totally get that. I do. I totally get that. But I just do not think that it's that simplistic. I think as a Destiny fan, you could actively support marathon, buy it, spend money in it, and not feel like I'm helping to kill Destiny. Like, I just don't think it's that simplistic. I just don't. So I think there's a lot more nuance to it than that, especially if, it keeps the lights on and keeps things going, and they can kind of level the plane out here, and then potentially, continue to dedicate time and resources and attention to to Destiny 3 in that case. I think Destiny 3 is the current. I think that's the current thing. I think that's their current focus. They're not going to come out and say it, but this update that they put on, Twitter that we read through, I don't know about y'all, but that's what I get. That's what I get when I read it. That's what I get when I see it. I'm like, yep, they're going to put this thing down into into coast mode, into end of life mode. I'm trying to see. They made this update on X. I can't see who has liked my tweet. I hate that. I loved being able to see who did and who didn't. Like, the person that you're replying to. Like, did they like it or not? Like, I don't know. You can't even see that anymore. Destiny 2 new player experience in a nutshell. Here's 10 years worth of story and a 20-minute cutscene. Good luck. That's right. Lights are already out. If you buy Marathon, you're supporting Sony, not Bungie. Yeah, I mean, there's still justification of operational costs and bandwidth and, members of the studio. I mean, I do think that's true. Speaking of Bungie, they literally just dropped a Marathon Music Insight. Funny, happened while you're talking about them. Oh, they're pushing the marketing pretty hard right now. They are. So Corgi submitted a question here about Destiny. He says, what do you think has changed since the end of last year when Bungie were talking about a multi-year roadmap for Destiny? I'll tell you what happened. Sony walked in the room. That's what I think. You know what I mean? Didn't some guy comment on the Ashes of Creation in chat saying it was a front for money laundering or something? I thought he was talking about the High Guard. Was he talking about High Guard, Banshee? I don't think Ashes was money laundering. It was embezzlement, which is different. Which, by the way, y'all, a lot of you guys are from the era of time where we had the coffee with another company. It's ours now. And I haven't talked about it enough lately because we have it all significantly discounted. We're trying to move through our medium and our light roast. Dark roast is no longer available. And let's get this in the frame here. There we go. You can go to reforgeroast.com or you can use the coffee command in chat. It's $10.95 for a 12-ounce bag. That's cheaper than you can get the coffee at that's cheaper than you can get coffee at the grocery store right now. It's incredibly reasonable, and make sure and snag that. Sony said enough of the BS, assuming full control, all your base belong to us. Yeah, somebody ordered coffee this morning. I'm not sure who it was, but thank you for that order. I got a little email about it. Speaking of embezzlement, that's right. Speaking of embezzlement, we have our own coffee here. But seriously, the nature of what has happened at Bungie and the nature of like what has happened with Destiny, I really do. I think Sony walked in a room. Sony walked in a room and said, no. You know what I mean? We're not doing that. You're not doing this Destiny 2 thing. You're not going to have all this bandwidth spent on that. You're making Destiny 3. If you want your doors to stay open and you want all this production costs and you want all this money, the only way that's justified is by a brand new big project. Is Reforged Roast going away? Not anytime soon. I'm hoping that by the time we work our way through medium and light roast, that I can justify restocking the dark roast. I'm the one that has to pay for all of this. So you guys know the state of the world right now, and we know that coffee beans don't traditionally come from America, and anything coming from outside of America is really expensive right now. So, yay! Yeah, so we're just dealing with that. My hope is that by the time we work through the inventory of the medium and the light roast, which there is a ton of it. I drink the medium every day. It's fantastic. My wife even drinks it every day now because we don't have any dark. No, we don't have K-Cups, but we have a command. You can buy reusable K-Cups off of Amazon. That's cheaper for you, more economical for you, and then, you're not throwing K-Cups away all the time. I mean, I'm not some hippie tree hugger here, but, it definitely is cheaper for you and better than just, constantly buying K-Cups. Are the tariffs on coffee beans? Anything coming from, outside of America is getting hit, brother. Everything. So, everything's more expensive now. Yeah. Freight's more expensive to even have it shipped to my house. So, I'm sorry. It just, it's just where we are. It's where we are. But the good news is there is a ton of the medium and the light roast that you can buy right now and enjoy for way cheaper than you can get coffee anywhere else. Our current situation is actually a benefit to you if you're a coffee drinker. If you're going to the store right now and buying bags of coffee, you're spending way more than you're going to spend with us. So, and that includes shipping. Even after you pay for shipping, I think you're getting a better deal by going through us. Buy 5 bags at a time, and you're going to end up saving money. So, yeah, Starfield's on the docket. We will get to it. But yeah, to answer Corgi's question, that what changed? I think Sony walked in the room. I think that's why Pete Parsons is gone. I do. I do. I think Pete Parsons is gone. I think Bungie is now, their independence is basically gone. There was a Sony earnings call where I believe the CFO quite literally said, yeah, we are restructuring them. We are restructuring Bungie. And so, if that's where things are, then I would say that I would expect. Oh, you can see the likes on a tweet. I was like, what the heck? It's really, really convoluted in how you have to do it now. I asked Tom Henderson if there was an earthquake when he took that picture. Thought it was pretty funny. Yeah, the Frickmas isn't sold out. Let's take another question here. We got one here from Alapart. With how God of War Sons of Sparta has been received, do you think Sony will still keep trying to do games like this? Smaller titles, a little more experimental with the IP, or is Lego Horizon and that's it? I think this is extremely off topic, but I'm going to give you a very, very quick answer. It really, really comes down to, and we have a testimonial in chat from the Singer Bro about the coffee. He says the medium is so smooth. Yeah, so do the thing, boys. I think that it really comes down to how much did it cost to make it, and is it selling well enough and being received well enough? The God of War Sons of Sparta game, it does not have a good. It looks bad on Metacritic. But now this score continues to slip. It was a 97, then a 96, then a 94. Now it's just at a 90. It's at a 4.5. That's a very good score for 6,000 ratings. That means that people are generally pleased with it. Overall, if we go to the 1-star ratings, nobody wrote anything for a 1-star, a 2-star, a 3-star. Decent game overall. I never played this style. You can now actually write reviews for PlayStation games. You don't just give it like a 1 to 5-star rating. You can actually write something out. If they feel like it reviewed well enough and was received well enough and sold well enough in the general audience, I would say, I don't know. I would say that they'll probably continue doing it. I think it's an incredibly mediocre game. It's probably the most amateurish Metroidvania I've ever played. I'd put it down. That's how bad it is. And I think You know, it now has 26 critic reviews and a 68. I'm in good company. I think people were trying to claim that I was, you know, forcing the hate or being too nitpicky. I think I'm in really good company. The review circuit likes it. Now the users are like all about it. I don't know if they went into it expecting a Metroidvania. I don't know if they went into it and only played for a couple of hours and left a review. It gets worse the further you go. I had a good time in the first hour, and then I did a second hour, same day, on Twitch, and I was like, I think this is bad. I tweeted the same day, because some guy accused me of, like, changing my tune. He's like, well, you were enjoying it until people were being negative. It's like, no, the same day that I was enjoying it in the first hour, I tweeted and I said, I can't recommend this game. The Castlevania reveal ruined it. Playing any other modern Metroidvania will ruin it. I mean, play Ori 1 and 2. Play Sundered. Play Hollow Knight. Play Silksong. Play Mio Memories in Orbit. Play Prince of Persia and the Lost Crown, which is probably the best Metroidvania with respect to depth of combat and versatility and agility. You know what I mean? Like in general, I mean, there's not much. I don't think there's not much there to really justify this as a game. It's like they didn't go to anybody with pedigree in the genre, and they should have. So there you go. If you want something that's right now really good that just came out for console, that's a platformer and got great action in it, as long as you're okay with a rogue, play BlazBlue Entropy Effect X. It is fabulous. It's fabulous. So, now the question is, do they continue to do this? You know, Lego Horizon didn't review well with anybody. Not the critics, not the users. I don't think it sold very well either. Why? It wasn't even a good Lego game. It wasn't a good Lego game. This isn't a good Metroidvania. All those games you mentioned are bangers. It's because I'm a big Metroidvania fan. I've played basically all of the greats. The only one that I put down that I still feel a twinge of annoyance with is Silksong. And that wasn't because it was bad. It was because I fundamentally disagree with their philosophy about runbacks. Me and Silksong are having a philosophical disagreement. That doesn't mean it's a low-quality game or a bad Metroidvania. It's a philosophical disagreement. I believe they instituted an archaic design of runbacks that I don't think is enjoyable. I think it's punitive. It's the difference between punishment and difficulty, and they turned up too much of the punitive nature of their game. It's a philosophical disagreement. It's not a qualitative judgment. I'm not saying it's bad. It's, I do not like this. That's it. There's a difference. Sons of Sparta is a low-quality Metroidvania. It is. Hollow Knight did not have the runbacks of Silksong, not even in the same ballpark. Big time Hollow Knight fans will show you. I mean, there's good breakdowns and videos about this. They're not even in the same dadgum ballpark. Some of the runbacks in Silksong are insane. I mean, they're insane. Accurately and reasonably describing your feelings, I don't know, Lono. Sounds like you just want devs to suffer and you're grifting. Oh, the Pac-Man game was freaking terrible. Yeah, the Pac-Man game was awful. What was that one called? Jiminy Christmas. Labyrinth something. Shadow Labyrinth? The frick was that called? The episode in Secret Level was awesome. Game sucked. It was so disappointing. They did a big update and it was still bad. It was still bad. Got a new question here coming in from Key No Man's Sky. Do you think there is limited reach for new IP first-person shooter live service games? I feel that most new games of service that are all really successful are all third-person. Rivals, Ark, Helldivers 2, Deadlock, all third-person. We might have just had a hiccup. Did the sound hiccup? My computer did something. Like the hard drive spun up for some reason. It does that every once in a while. Just Windows passing gas, I guess. I don't know if I would say it's first person, right? First person versus third person. Like, oh, first person has a hard time. This is what I think is going on. This is what I think is going on. I think first person is very difficult to iterate within. So what happens is you start to play a first-person shooter game, and you're like, I've played this before. Does that make sense? Like, I call it baked-in familiarity. People are like, it's pattern recognition. I think there's a difference between pattern recognition and baked-in familiarity. Pattern recognition is, oh, I know what this means, and I know where this goes. That doesn't automatically translate as a negative. Baked-in familiarity also isn't an automatic negative, but it is if it feels so familiar that there's nothing distinct about it. That makes it easily disposable, easily forgettable. You're like, yeah, I've played this before. I played something like this before. I think that's one of the biggest challenges with first-person shooters. Yo, what's good, Ginger? Ginger asked a question. He says, Ginger says, what if they gave the players the option to retry rather than difficulty settings, like what Dragon Quest does with the boss? So, Ginger, if I could retry a boss or like those little arena fights in Silksong, like the Stake of Marika mechanic in Elden Ring, even FromSoft admitted that like runbacks aren't necessary because they can be overly punitive and just unnecessary. Team Cherry didn't get that memo, I guess, and that's fine. It's their game. It's their philosophy. Like I said, it's a philosophical disagreement. If they did that in Silksong, I'd be playing that game this afternoon. If they did that and they said, you know what, we've considered this and really looked at this, and we really feel like we're going to institute a Stake of Marika like mechanic with a retry on these really challenging rooms and these really challenging boss fights, I'd be playing Silksong this afternoon. I would, because I was enjoying it. I liked overcoming the arena fights. I liked overcoming the boss fights. The last boss that I fought is one of the ones that they nerfed. People thought he was too hard. I thought it was fun. I had a ball. I whooped him. And then what did I do? I went to a new area. I got through the area, and I got to one of those rooms where like enemies keep spawning, and I died, and then I had to run all the way back to it. Run back wasn't even hard. I was just like, you know what? I'm annoyed. I was annoyed the whole time in the boss fight previous. Why? Because I had to run back to him, and the run back wasn't difficult. It was just annoying. And I was like, I'm not going to play a game that's annoying me. I'm not. I think there are healthy levels of annoyance. There are. You ever play a game and you see that, like, you know, an enemy on the horizon, and you're like, oh, I hate these guys. That is a healthy level of annoyance. It is. It's good for a developer and a studio and a game to make enemies that annoy you. That's perfectly fine. That's good. That means they're achieving something. I was telling my son about this. We're in the realm of writing. We're reading through the Harry Potter novels, and he hates Umbridge. Oh, he's like, she is dark. She's wicked. You know, saying all this stuff. And they're theorizing about her because we've just gotten through the scene where like Harry's writing and it's like it's cutting his hand what he's writing, which is insane and sadistic. But I told him, I said, that's a sign of a good writer. That you're so invested in the story that you feel a strong dislike for a character that doesn't even exist. They're not real, right? I told him, I said, that's a sign of good writing. I think it's a sign of good game design when certain enemy types annoy you. There's healthy annoyance. If I'm annoyed with your game's structure and philosophy, I'm never ever going to be able to get over that. It's like we're having a fundamental disagreement and we're just not going to see eye to eye. That's what it feels like to me. She's worse than Voldemort. She's pretty bad. Although in the book, she's described as being very unsightly, toad-like, with like these awful eyes, and she's just kind of gross looking. The sweet little lady they had playing her in the movies, who ended up playing the Queen in The Crown, she doesn't quite have the unsightliness, but she plays the overly sweet and the like grinning and also looking insane at the same time. She did a very, very good job, but she's kind of an adorable old lady. Like she doesn't look like a toad. Anyways, that's off topic. We have one final question in the queue. You guys can continue using the question command about Destiny 3, or any of the other topics. I think we are getting ready to shift gears here a little bit because we are, I think, out of mileage and gas on the Destiny topic, which is totally fine. We're 2 hours into the show. That's the beauty of a variety show, is when we kind of run out of things to say about a particular topic, we'll throw out the next topic, and I'll make sure you guys are properly informed. Also, anytime you come back to the live stream and you're like, man, I really only want to hear about this one thing, you can use timestamps for that. This one obviously is 2 hours about Destiny for the most part, and then we're going to use timestamps for Ashes of Creation as well as Starfield 2.0. So the entire opening of the show is basically a Destiny show. So this question is from Creature. He says, do you think a Destiny 3 could finally land in a reasonable spot as far as the fusion rifle ammo economy is concerned? You know what's funny about fusion rifles in Destiny is, in my opinion, after the hand cannon, I think fusion rifles are the most Destiny gun there is. Because you have the fusion rifle and then you have the linear fusion rifle. And to me, after the hand cannon, fusion rifles are the most Destiny gun that there is. And I always felt they weren't given their proper respect and placement in the weapon hierarchy. I always felt that way. I never felt like they got their due treatment. I thought they were cool looking. There were a couple that had the cool sounds. There's obviously the Telesto. They were such cool guns. Now, granted, I haven't played the game in 5 years, so maybe that changed in the last 5 years. But when I was playing the game, the fusion rifles always felt like they didn't get their proper treatment. Right? Now, one of the best looking guns in the game was the one that we had to do all the Warmind stuff for. What was that one called? That's the Null Composure? Yeah, I've never gotten to use that. What's that one called? It's literally on the t-shirt. I'm holding it in the t-shirt. It's where Lono Lude comes from. Like, the facial expression I'm making is the Lono Lude emote. And I've got the t-shirt upstairs. I'm holding the linear fusion rifle. It was the one that we had to go and do all the stuff for. Sleeper Stimulant. That's right. Yeah, the Sleeper Stimulant was amazing. I think that is the Sleeper Simulant. Or Stimulant. Which is it? Yeah, Simulant. I maintain that to this day, this is the quintessential... This is the archetype of weapon design in Destiny. I think this is a god tier piece of work. This belongs in the Louvre. This is, I think, the best. This is the best looking Destiny weapon ever. I believe this is the god of the weapons. It looks amazing. The sound design was incredible. The way that it felt to use it. You respect this weapon, okay? This weapon deserves a massive amount of respect. There is so much here that is just there is beauty in this design. There's so much here that I love. There's so many little touches about this that it's just amazing. Just wonderful. It takes me back. There's a reason across 1 and 2. Yeah, all of Destiny. I don't care. You could throw any gun up right now from the era of time that I missed. I think a lot of those guns are actually ugly and really chintzy looking. They look very mobile, over-colorified. They look cheap. This looks real. This looks real. The wiring, homies, look at the wiring. There's tie wraps on this thing. You see this little blue wire back here? It's been soldered on. What's that? Is that a grounding wire so you don't get shocked? Everything about this is phenomenal. The little pieces along the edge that look like they've been taken from a piece of a Warmind. The Thorn is definitely also one of the best looking, but I'm telling you, that's it. Sleeper Simulant is the god. It's the archetype. It is the weapon that all other weapons think they wish they were that cool and look that good. And that's the one. No contest. The only one after that that's close is the Siva one. that we found in the vault thing. This is the runner-up. This is the runner-up. This is second place. It's almost a tie for first, because this thing is just shooting this thing and reloading this thing and the sounds that it made. Oh my gosh. This is basically tied for first. This gun and the sleeper are basically, the Outbreak. Because there's the Outbreak Prime and then the Outbreak Perfected. I think this is the Perfected, isn't it? I'm telling you, Wrath of the Machine was just peak. Everything about it. Everything about Wrath was wonderful. You know what's interesting about this gun in Destiny 1? I don't know if you guys know this. This is a little bit of deep dive lore here. Not only was I patient zero when the infection started in Destiny, I think there's actually a Bife video where, like, he essentially says that Destiny canon and lore basically broke through the fourth wall and included, like, a real person. That person was me. Like, I was patient zero from the SIVA infection. I was the first one to get it, and then it spread from me to everybody else. But you may not know this. That weapon in Destiny 1 did more damage to Fallen. Do you remember this? But it didn't do more damage to the final boss in Wrath because he was no longer Fallen. He had basically become something else. I thought, even if that was accidental, that was freaking dope. That was freaking dope. Just what a time. What a time. When they opened that dadgum vault for the first time, it was math class or whatever the frick their name is. Like Leopard was streaming, I think. Oh my gosh. What a time to play the dadgum game, boys. That to me is better than when we were doing corridors of time and all of that. That's better than the almighty crashing into the tower. Is that time was the best. The absolute best. This is still the most Destiny weapon. The frickin' Black Spindle. That was like so many raids. That was the gun. Because it really came down to DPS cycles and ammo economy. It always came down to that. You could have such a strong DPS cycle with a weapon that didn't need to be reloaded. Because when you have 6 people doing that, not reloading their gun and just continuing to fire, mathematically, it's so hard to compete with that. That spindle, not worm. Isn't that what I said? I said Black Spindle. What do you mean? Oh, you're correcting Fuzzy. Loda, has your opinion changed at all on Marathon with some of the recent trailers? What do you think my opinion is? A lot of people don't understand my opinion about Marathon. They think I hate the game and I want it to fail, and that's not true. This makes me tack to the good old days, Lono talking Destiny. It was a good time. Lono still got more insights with this game than most Destiny creators after not touching the game for 5 years. I mean, it's baked into the crust of my brain. We covered it for 5 years. We lived there, man, for half a decade. The sense of wonder and discovery back then, says Light Leap. No API to spoil anything. Remember OG Black Spindle and the quest? Yeah, dude. This is good. This is a good time. I think they can get back there. I really do. I think they can get back to the mystique and the awe and the wonder and the mystery. I think they can do it. They've got the recipe. And the recipe is a lot of what they did in Destiny 1, to be quite honest with you. Can you imagine if they were able to create something with like that level of mystery and mystique, but had it in an engine that was agile and a content flow that was healthy? Holy mackerel. I don't know it. I'm just asking you if you think the new trailers have changed what you do have. I certainly think it looks better. Okay. So my opinion on Marathon has always been this. They won't get enough re-engagement. I don't think they'll get enough of the general public. Those have been generally what I've said. I don't think the game is going to appeal to the general public. I don't think they're going to get healthy re-engagement because of how the game has been designed. Yo, Mike on a mic with 47 months. How are you, man? Let me add you to the total. It sounds like you miss it. I don't miss it. I can reminisce without missing it. Like, I actually really enjoy doing variety coverage over one game coverage. I can reminisce because it was such an enjoyable time. Wrath was the best. I mean, you guys liked Q&A because Q&A was for you. You know, Wrath was, to me, my favorite time in Destiny. Just screaming through Wrath on hard challenge mode in 45 minutes with 3 people, you know, that won a raffle. That was just a special time, man. Q&A was for you guys. That wasn't for me. Q&A was stressful as frick. Grinding new content to get ready for a raid was stressful as frick. I did not like that. I did it because it was what was required. I loved running Wrath. I run Wrath all day, every day. It was so fun. Grinding for weapons was also fun, like when I was grinding for like a God Roll Imago loop. That was fun too. Neo Reaper with a $5 super chat says, I would love to see the Q&A after weapon crafting was announced from you. It would have been spicy. I'm sure it would have been. Over under on them bringing Wrath to Pantheon 2.0. Yeah. I've never really desired to be unbanned and to go back and to play Destiny 2, but I would want to for Wrath of the Machine, because I think that's the best raid they've ever made. There's just something special about it. It has the bombast and the excitement and the condensedness of like a dungeon, but it has the demand and the precision, like the mechanics of a raid. It's wonderful. I feel like it's both of their design philosophy worlds converging into one beautiful piece of content. I feel like when they started to get into these really, really lengthy raids, like the one where we like drop down in the room and there's a big worm and there's all these symbols that you got to see. What was that one called? With Riven. I know the god that we're killing is Riven, but what was the name of that raid? I feel like they got to that point and it was like dungeons had something and raids had something, but what was lost in the middle was the special recipe. Yeah, Last Wish. Wrath is a special recipe. It's got the punch and the excitement and the bombast of like a dungeon, but it also has like the precision and the coordination of a raid. And then you get into like raids like Last Wish. I'm like, this is freaking ridiculous. It's too long. There's too much going on. It's huge. It's huge. It's like, And then dungeons were shorter and punchy and exciting, but they lacked that like required mechanical precision of a raid. I really do think that that's what made Wrath of the Machine so special. It was like those two design philosophies were like both in the room at the same time. They sort of separated them, and I don't know if we ever got that back. Yeah, I thought Deepstone Crypt was also, I thought it was a sucky raid. I did not like it. It just felt like they got too big on long and you know, all the, you do this and then you do this and then you do this and then you do this and I was like, I didn't like when it got to that era of time. Last Wish and Deep Stone, I didn't like those raids. They didn't seem bombastic and fun. They didn't. It felt like the spectacle was gone because you were so tunnel vision on whatever your responsibility was. Does that make sense? There's no spectacle anymore. Like Wrath of the Machine, there's all this spectacle. Like you can see what you're doing. You can see what's going on. It's like, oh my gosh, the screens and this guy and the frickin' siege engine, right? There's a spectacle to it. And a Kingsfall raid, there's spectacle. Even the shortest raid, which was basically the first dungeon, I still think that what's the Dark Below raid, dadgummit? That's the first dungeon that they've ever made. I think that's a dungeon. And it's awesome. But it's the first dungeon that they've ever made. Yeah, Crota's End. Crota's End is the first dungeon that Bungie's ever made. There's spectacle. And I feel like they got to a point where the spectacle got divorced from the gameplay. So you go into Last Wish, and it's like, oh my gosh, look how big the freaking thing is. But then, like, there's this level of precision and all this stuff that you're doing that where, like, you can't even really get to witness or experience the spectacle because you're, like, looking at a symbol and doing this thing and shooting this thing. And Deep Stone Crypt was the same. It's like, go down here, shoot this. All right, come here, shoot that. Stand there, throw the thing. You shoot that. You do this. And it was like, and the spectacle gets lost. It's like there is no, like, Oryx. Oh, my gosh, Siege Engine. It just, I don't know. That's why I'm saying, like, the bombast and the excitement of, like, a dungeon, those were so fun, but then there's no precision. There's the mechanical precision's not there because it's not a raid. And then the raids were super heavy on mechanical precision, and they no longer felt like there was this, like, I don't know. They took all the ceremony out of it. It just felt very mechanical. There was something about looking at Oryx and shooting at Oryx and fighting Oryx. There was something about fighting the guy at the end of Wrath of the Machine. I don't even remember his freaking name because he's a random nobody. I don't know. Axis, that's right. It's unfortunate. It is. It's unfortunate, you know, that they did that because I felt like they kind of lost their way. I felt like the dungeon team. I felt like the dungeon team and the raid team should have come together. What was the one that was during Leviathan also? There's no it's huge and mechanically heavy. There is no more what was the word that I was using? I can't remember the word that I was using. It's just gone. You don't feel like there is this size or scope to it anymore. It just feels like this really, really long, you know, mechanically heavy. No, it's not a hero moment. Spectacle. Thank you, Snake Eyes. There's no more spectacle. Like, think about the final boss in Leviathan. There's no spectacle to that. He's just up there on a stage and they just... I don't know. I feel like Leviathan was kind of the end of the spectacle. You know? Did you ever play Val the Disciple? No, yeah, I was gone by then. So Deep Stone Crypt was my last raid. Yeah, Deep Stone Crypt and Last Wish and Leviathan, they all feel very, very similar to me. The spectacle's not there. What was the raid with the big giant guy in the center where you had to shoot his eye that was like basically in like his stomach or something? What was that one? That one was actually pretty cool. That was probably the only Destiny 2 raid that I played that I felt like had spectacle. Eater of Worlds. Yeah, Eater of Worlds was, to me, that was spectacle. I liked that raid. That freaking fight at the end was dope. You had Garden of Salvation, did not like that one either. Did not feel like there was spectacle there. Felt very about the mechanical precision and stuff. I just didn't like it. It felt like you were constantly being distracted and moving and shuffling. You know, yeah, Callus was his name at the end of Leviathan. But yeah, Eater of Worlds was, I think, Garden of Salvation. It's just so boring. Yeah, the spectacle's not there. I'm telling you, they got too focused on it's big, it's huge, and it's mechanically precise. And it was like, okay, the spectacle's not there. Crota has spectacle. Oryx has spectacle. Vault of Glass, spectacle. There's something... we've talked about this before with Destiny, where I have said, if they just went to like really, really big, huge open world environments, you would lose some of the potency. So, have you ever taken a boombox out of a room like this size here in my studio and you took it out in your front yard, what happens? It doesn't seem as loud. It gets swallowed up by the size of the outdoors. I think a lot of the potency of your abilities and your supers, I think their potency would be muted if you were just in some huge open world environment. Like imagine a Guardian in an environment like the size of like a Horizon Forbidden West. Okay? Boombox loses most of chat. Sorry, like a radio, a speaker, your iPad. But the potency gets lost. It gets swallowed up by the size. I think that would happen in Destiny. I think if you just dropped a Guardian into a place the size of like Horizon Forbidden West, your supers, your abilities, your grenades, they wouldn't feel as strong. They wouldn't. They would feel muted by the size. I think that's what's happening in some of those raids. You get swallowed up by the size of it, and so all the spectacle and all the bombast is gone. It's just this mechanically precise thing. Shoot that, step on the switch. What's the symbol? Okay, boom. Okay, he's dead. Everybody's staying here to do damage. Do you see? There was something about Vault of Glass and Crota and Oryx and Axis. It's like they're there in the room with you, and it's war. The biggest one obviously being Oryx. But even Oryx, like the room and the way that it plays and the way that he's like roaming around and stuff, there's something about it doesn't feel like you're being swallowed up by the environment. I'm telling you, these are all related. Like the philosophy of Destiny's design and the reason that it works is because you're in contained spaces, like putting a speaker system in a small room versus taking it out in your front yard. It feels louder. It doesn't feel like, it's just this big giant guy out there that we're fighting. Does that make sense? I don't even think Callus translates into that because he just I don't know, he doesn't really seem like he's doing anything. And like Crota moves around, Oryx moves around, in Vault of Glass, homie's moving around. Axis doesn't move, but I think because there's so much showmanship in what you get to do in Axis in his arena. Like, I think that's why it's so fun. Like, you're zipping around with, like, Scorch cannons, aren't you? Oh, it's freaking awesome. You literally feel like it's like almost like an Olympic sport or something. Yeah. Horizon Hunters has opened up a Reddit. Yeah, that won't last very long. Kingsfall is your favorite? You took a lot of people through that raid. Kingsfall is not my favorite. Wrath of the Machine is my favorite. Kingsfall, I'm wearing this shirt today because Kingsfall, changed the trajectory of my life and career. It's why I'm a streamer. I think I would have burned out and ended up doing something else without Destiny and the Kingsfall raid. There are people that are like, I think Creature has disagreed with me on that before. He's like, no. He's like, you would have been able to figure it out. I just don't think so. I don't think the landscape would have been welcoming or receptive to what I turned into, because back then it was all about gameplay. You had to be thrown down in a battle royale or a PvP game or doing a let's play in a really entertaining way. And I just was never going to be that guy. I'm a professional yapper. And Destiny was a game where that could get its footing because it was a game that had a community that both liked to watch gameplay, but if there's something that is unique about the Destiny community, they also love to talk about the game. Forums, Reddit, Twitter, YouTube comments, YouTube chats, Twitch chats, like that's unique. Right? That's unique. Like, I don't know if my ability to yap and discuss games and break them down and all of that, I don't think that would have gotten its footing in another game, because I think the Destiny crowd is very unique in that regard. Oh, he replied. He said, yes, in my brain from all the alcohol. Tom. Oh, Tom Henderson. He's funny guy. There we go. Not to deflate the conversation, but you should be able to log into an eventual D3, right? I'm not even banned in Destiny 2. I'm not even banned in Destiny 2. I'm not. It's a dev ban on Steam. Like it's really, really weird. I'm not. You go to Bungie and you go to the Bungie.net and I log in. I'm not actually banned. It's very weird. Yo, Mountain Man with a VIP renewal. Let me add you to the total 233. We're gonna have to kick it into high gear if you guys want that Saturday stream with Madam. If we hit the 500, she's gonna react to gaming news Saturday evening at 8 p.m. Eastern, and we can make her play some Reanimal. Fighting Cowboy says he's going to be traveling next week to go hands-on with Crimson Desert. The game seems like a fever dream I had while sick and loaded up on a bunch of meds, and I need to see if it's actually as crazy as it seems. I misunderstood. You can play it on PlayStation? No, the minute you get dev banned on Steam and you have cross-play enabled, it just registers as a ban on all of your other platforms. When I go to Bungie.net, it doesn't register that I've been banned. Because they did it through Steam. They didn't do it to my Bungie account. It's really, really weird. If I would have had crossplay disabled, what they did wouldn't have worked. I would have been able to boot up and play on PlayStation or Xbox. Yo, Broken Earth comes in with a gifted and gets us to 234. And does another one to get us to 235. We're 15 away from 250, or I will owe you guys a member. It's thoroughly satisfying that the guy that banned you got fired. I don't think you guys actually know who banned me, because it wasn't. Everybody thought it was Christopher Barrett, and it was not. Siege Master comes in with a 5-bomb and gets us a 240. We're 10 away. Is anybody going to tag team this to get us to the halfway point to 500? You guys, it's going to be a tough Friday tomorrow if you guys want to unlock the Saturday stream. We have some questions as well that you can submit if you're a member. If you're like, man, I can't do gifteds or gifted bombs, a really, really great way to help us out is just to pick up your own membership. We are working on a big goal right now. We are trying to get to 600 people paying for their own memberships. And you can do that by clicking the join button or go to the members page and just upgrade to Member Plus. So that way you're not on a gifted anymore. No, it wasn't hippie. No. Y'all. I had people look into it. I had people who got to speak to current and former Bungie employees, and it was Luke Smith. It wasn't Barrett. I don't think Luke got fired. I think Luke and Mark Noseworthy quit. Yeah, I don't think Luke Smith was fired. I don't think he had anything to work on anymore. So wait. Yeah. Resident Evil 9 is not tomorrow. It's next week. Thank you so much, Ula Dioni, for renewing your membership. Let's pop it up here. 241. Thank you. Luke was told to leave or be fired. Listen, it probably doesn't matter because basically what he was working on got canceled, and it was like he probably just had no interest in sticking around, would be my assumption. You know? That'd be my guess. It was like, why am I going to stay here if the thing that I was working on got canceled? You know? Why are you banned, though? I've never been told. I was publicly talking about going public with some things that I knew and some stories that I knew about, and there were people that were kind of investigating Bungie's involvement. They were getting former and current employees to actually talk to them and tell them things. And when I think they unearthed a couple of things and they were worried about whatever was getting ready to come out, all of a sudden I was banned. I never did anything in the game. I never did anything on their website. I never did anything. I didn't break any of their terms of service. And they don't even provide me with a reason. Like if you get banned, that you'll get an email that'll say why you were banned. I didn't even get an email from them. Somebody went into Steam and just did a dev ban. It was super freaking weird. I don't know. It made no sense other than it was retaliatory. So they're not a very good company internally. A lot of bad stuff has happened over the years, and if Chris Barrett's case goes to court, you'll learn a whole lot about what's gone on at that company. I think that's why he wants this case to go to court. He wants discovery to expose the company and the stuff that went on there. I think he, on a scale of 1 to 10 of like bad guy, yeah, he's a bad guy, but I think he's like maybe a 7 or an 8, and there's some 10s and 11s at that company. So I think that's why he's suing. Wild community building Bungie is doing while trying to launch a new game. Well, homie, they did this to me 5 years ago. This didn't happen like yesterday. This was in 2021. Basically, we went into 2021 and everything started disappearing from Twitter. There was it became apparent that some people were legally liable for things they had said about me. That there could have been a very, very simple civil suit. I couldn't afford it, obviously, but there could have been a civil suit. So tweets started disappearing. And when those tweets started disappearing, people started shaking trees, and they started getting information, and they started getting people to talk. And all of a sudden I was banned from the game. That's essentially the course of events. So and whenever I appealed it, they didn't even reply to my appeal. The ticket just got like instantly closed. Like they were basically like watching for it. Now if I appeal, I don't even get a reply. I think the one time I appealed, like years and years later, they were basically like, this is above our pay grade. Like the security team was like, yeah, we're not even allowed to look at this. Because it was done by somebody not even on the security team. So that's basically what happened. Ginger, if you're here in the stream, I replied to the DM. I'm available tomorrow. It's next week that I won't be available. So it's a conspiracy? Yeah. It's funny, there were people that made fun of us and called us like conspiracy theorists. And yeah. The irony was there was literally a conspiracy. There was public admissions to there being a conspiracy. Like it's funny, that they use that word, because that was literally what happened. The whole thing's absurd. If you look back on it now with all emotion kind of calmed down and removed from the equation, the entire situation is just completely and utterly absurd. Like it's bonkers. It almost seems like a dream. You go back and you look and you're like, I cannot believe that this happened. It's absurd. It's truly absurd. How I came here, I saw the Third Echelon video. Yeah, if there was ever a sign that they really didn't want things to come out, it was how they handled Upper Echelon's video. They false striked it multiple times. He did multiple videos on it. It was so clear. It was Barbra Streisand effect in full effect. It was just unfortunate that back then bigger YouTubers didn't pick it up and cover it. It should have got more attention. If it happened now, a lot of big YouTubers would have picked it up and covered it, because now people hate that kind of stuff. The Johnny Depp case completely changed the culture's mind on this. Like, people hate this kind of thing. You know, trying to ruin somebody over the most benign, encounters, the most inoffensive encounters. It's absurd. But the culture was red hot fever bed in 2020 for that kind of thing. It was just a different time. You know. My favorite meme right now is flat earthers watching all the conspiracy theories being true except one. I know. They're like, come on, come on, come on. Aliens are real. Lizard people are real. But the earth ain't flat. Oh, dadgummit. We're waiting on our tracksuits. That's right. That's right. It's crazy to me how you use a target of cancel culture. It'd never get traction today, boys. It would never get traction today. It wouldn't work. People would be like, well, shut the frick up. Like, it wouldn't get traction. They'd get, if you could time travel and like move that instance of events to today, it would have gotten destroyed within the first 24 hours. People would have been like, get the frick out of here with this. Because there's nothing there. It's nothing. It's flimsy, very benign stories, vague, indistinct stories. Like, it's like, what is this? It wouldn't work today. It worked back then because nobody thought this sort of thing could be like, oh, there's just no way. They all came out at the same time. There's just no way. Now, that's the first sign of trouble. People be like, wait a minute here. It would be a completely different ballgame in 2026. That's why I've continued to say, I don't fear anybody getting upset or mad that I'm still around, because I'm like, go ahead and stir up that machine. Go ahead. I'm your Huckleberry. It won't go well for you. And culture'd be on my side this time around. It's as rampant as ever. Well, but it's different though, Eugene. It's different. Somebody else is holding the bat now. So. If you had to do it over again, would you have basically said you ain't canceling me, see you Monday? Yeah, I don't know. It's tough. It's tough to think about it in that realm, because we got a lot of admissions and we got a lot of people to make mistakes, and it was because I looked weak. If I would have come out on the defensive and stood my ground immediately, they all would have clammed up, and then it would have been a much harder fight. It would have been like, you know what I mean? It'd have been harder to... People sided with me because of the public mistakes that people made. It was like, oh my gosh, like what? They said that out loud for people to hear? Well, the reason they did that is because they thought they won. Like, I looked weak. I looked like I was like, yeah, he's done. He's cooked. He's bye-bye. And so they all took victory laps. They wouldn't have done that if I'd have come out swinging. If I'd have come out swinging and been like, look, I knew this was coming. I was prepared. I've got this. I've got that. I've got this. I've got this timestamp. I've got this email. I've got this recorded conversation. Like, if I'd have come out swinging, it'd have gone very, very different. Like, Sven, look at what happened when I did defend myself. What'd they do? They all went dead quiet. And then I got nuked. That's what happened. Like, 2 weeks later, I came out defending myself. I was like, here's all the evidence, you know, because I couldn't see what anybody was saying. So I just, like, apologized generically. I'm like, I made inappropriate remarks and I'm so sorry. And people are always like, you apologize for everything. No, I didn't. Go watch. That's not true, right? So I come out 2 weeks later with a 40-page document and receipts and emails. Nobody freaking cares about that, by the way. They don't care about that. Like, they're not interested in the truth. They just liked burning somebody to the ground. But, like, I come out with that 40-page document. What'd they do? They all went dead quiet. And then somebody called in a favor. They would have done that. If I'd have come out swinging the first night it happened, if I'd have come out and been like, you know what? You're getting half of a bunch of vague, benign stories. You're not getting the truth right now. I'll give you the truth. I'll tell you what's really been going on in this community. You know what had happened? They'd have poofed my Twitch count just like they did 2 weeks later. And then what I would have done? I'd have had to rebuild on YouTube, which maybe that would have gone different. Maybe there would have been more like public inertia behind me because people would have been like, this guy's coming out and he's on the defense. He's got evidence. And maybe I would have had more community and public inertia for people being like, it doesn't really seem like he's guilty. But like when you come out and you say you're sorry, people instantly just assume the worst. They're like, yep, he's guilty. He's everything everybody's saying. And we're not going to give us a second look. Like plenty of people did that. And to be fair, it was hard to see through the fog. So, you know, it played out the way that it was supposed to play out, you know. I trust the man in charge, you know, he'll make all accounts balanced. So it ain't my job. You know what I'm saying, boys? Like, I don't have to do anything. It went the way that it was supposed to go. I'm where I'm supposed to be. And we're just going to keep doing what we're doing, you know. You can look back any instance in your life, the way you handled a promotion or rejection, the way you handled a relationship, the way you handled a job or a project or whatever. You can always retool it, replay it, rework it in your mind. You'll make yourself dadgum crazy doing that. There is no other timeline. This is it. There is no other plan. There's only this plan. There's only his plan. I trust that. I trust that, dude. You know what I mean? Jotun Slayer's adding co-op. It's a solid Survivors-like. I think it's PC only, though, isn't it, Zoob? Or is Jotun Slayer on console? I think I saw that in my email. Is it on PlayStation? Oh, it is. Jotun Slayer Hordes of Hell. Yeah. I was watching that one for a while. It's got an 84? Yeah, it's got an 84. When are they adding that? It is. It's on console. I have it wishlisted on Steam, so I get updates about it. We have no idea how those other timelines would have actually gone. I had somebody ask me a question about that, and they were like, you know, thinking about... Because I definitely made mistakes. And I definitely am not proud of the life that I was living back then, right? It was reckless. It was foolish. It was the epitome of a fool walking into snares. Like, you know what I'm saying? Spend some time reading the Proverbs. I was a fool walking into snares and traps laid for me, right? And people are, you know, always looking back on your life. Would you go back and, you know, change all those mistakes? And it's like, well, I'd make new ones. I'd make new ones. You know what I mean? Everything you do would spawn some new timeline and some new version of yourself. Like whoever I am right now, I'd be a completely different person if I went back and completely changed all those events. You know? It's like the mistakes you make, you know, if you learn from them, you grow from them and you improve, then the person you've become that's all part of it. That's all woven into the canvas, you know? Now, you want to try to live this, like, super polished, like, washed up, you know, polished up life that's, like, fake in front of people and not own the fact that you're imperfect or have made mistakes. I mean, that's a terrible place to be. That's exhausting, you know? You can't keep that up. It's just not possible. I'd rather be like, yeah, I'm imperfect, done stupid things and made big mistakes and done horrible stuff, but, you know, at this point, that's like almost, it's basic. We're getting to a point where it's like, that's like a decade ago. I was living that way in 2017 and 2018. That's where everything happened. That's where all the stories came from. It's 2017, 2018. That's a decade ago, bro. Like that, what do you want? Like, you know? If you're gonna hold somebody to things they did a decade ago and try and keep them trapped in that cage, I don't have anything for you, but probably thoughts about what you probably have done. You know, people that try to haunt you with your past are probably haunted by their own. I believe that. I believe people that consistently, even after all this time, they want to constantly haunt you and throw your past in your face. it's probably because their own past haunts them and they can't be free of it. And I think that's why they do what they do and how they conduct themselves. You can see it. You can see it in the way people carry themselves. So, like, you know, I think it's a terrible way to live. Your story is this: let suffering refine you, not define you. We're all human. We all fall short, and suffering joins us with God. And for me, that's the beauty of being a Christian. Well, yeah, I mean, everybody obviously has different views about like that. You know what I mean? Well, yeah, we're not talking about, leaning left. We're not talking about like actual monsters, because there are monsters in this world. We're not talking about that. You know what I mean? You get low and you're like, you know, substance abuse or living reckless, being, you know, ruining friendships and ruining relationships, like being a reckless and terrible person. That doesn't mean that you're like an, you know, irredeemable monster, which I think that's what people would have you believe 6 years ago. So Dino says, I'm here for your growth, brother. You come a long way from just a few years. I've been watching. Your confidence has grown. Salute. I appreciate that. You make it sound like you were some sort of philanderer and adulterer. You were a normal dude. Reckless, for a married man with children, the way I was living was completely indefensible, brother. It was indefensible. Absolutely. There's no defending it. Right? There isn't. Did it warrant what happened? No. Not at all. No. You don't deserve to have your livelihood and way of providing for your family utterly destroyed because, you know, you've been drinking it up and flirting around. Like, that's ridiculous. Like, come on. You talk about punishment fitting the crime. This was like running a red light and getting a life sentence. Like, that was the chasm between the offense and the punishment was absurd. It was absurd, boys. He would have been much worse if he was prettier. His own dumpiness saved him. It is true. It is true. The way that I was living, if I looked like Brad Pitt, I'd be in a different place right now. We know this. We know this. It goes different for guys that look like that. And that's not necessarily a good thing. It can be far more destructive, you know. It can be. It can be bad. I'm at some level, I'm actually glad that all that got destroyed, because, you know, I wouldn't be the husband and father that I am now if those things wouldn't have happened. You know? Nothing can change young and dumb. I look back, I was moving 10 years ago, and my mindset is like, boy, I was constantly saying, what was I thinking? That's right. If you were 6 foot instead of 3'2", you'd be a hero instead. Yeah. Yeah. If I was 6'2" instead of barely taller than a yardstick, apparently. Also, someone being an adulterer is really no one's business. There's a malicious version and a non-malicious version. You shouldn't assume it's always malicious. If you knew the truth about the people that came from me, Fuzzy, their self-righteousness gets really interesting. All these married men. Mm-hmm. Uh-huh. Mm-hmm. That's all I'm gonna say, boys. Like, yeah. If people really knew, this would be interesting, I bet. Some of those boys were awfully quick to be like, I love my wife when Doc disrespect had to come out about his infidelity. Well, I love my wife. Uh-huh. I'm sure you do. Oh, Lord. Yeah. The one who sees all knows. That's all that matters. You can keep it from the public, I guess, but... Only a matter of time. What is this? Okay. Okay. Taxman emailing me. Yo, what's good, Feed? I see you in the chat. He says, everybody hit like. I tell you what we need to do. We need to take a quick break. There are some other things for us to discuss. I think we've pretty much gone the distance with the Destiny topic. And we've got some other things to discuss. I do want to read through the Ashes of Creation thing because it's wild. And I do want to talk about the Starfield thing because it is in the title and the description, and a lot of you have asked about it. So I know you're literally here interested in those topics. So we'll take some time to cover those things. Oh, yeah, right? Now I'm an attorney and miserable. That's right, Adam. Guys, make sure and hit the like button. Check your renewals. Check your memberships. We are 9 away from the next milestone. I will be right back. Don't go anywhere. All right? Sorry. The house was empty, so I'm like checking, like kids left stuff on, like lights and sound machines and stuff. I'm like, come on, y'all. Just leaving stuff on. But what about free kits? What about free kits? That's right. Okay. I'll pull up. I'll do timestamps for this. I think the Starfield thing will probably be more discussion. I think you guys are gonna probably want to talk about that like a little bit more. The Destiny thing kind of took over the show today, which I'm totally fine with. Like, I enjoy talking Destiny, but the Ashes of Creation situation it's getting interesting, and I wanted to include this in the show because it's been brewing and developing, and we haven't really covered it or said much about it. So there has already been a lawsuit filed about this. Let's actually get this on the screen first. So basically, Ashes of Creation drama goes nuclear. So there's a lawsuit from the new owners. They're suing Steven. I believe it's pronounced Sharif. I think that's how you pronounce it. Not Sheriff, but Sharif, I believe. And so they're suing him. They're saying that they're claiming he was embezzling funds. He was using money. I think he used funds for like a home or something, is what they're claiming, like business funds for personal funds. And then doing something with that property, like bought the property with Intrepid's funds, but when sold it personally, kept the money. So like, I don't know what in the world. Like, how do you do this, right? Justin, let me add it to the total, getting us to 242. Thank you for your Member Plus renewal. Thank you for 26 months. Excuse me. So use loans as revenue to get bigger loans. Like, what in the world? Like, if any of this is true, homie's in trouble. All right. If any of this is true, right? So this is all obviously just allegations. All right. Another bombshell happened when Ashes of Creation investor Jason Karamanis spoke with YouTuber Nephis QS. He appears to share private texts and conversations surrounding the game. The texts appear to show many years of Steven and Jason talking with Steven, appearing to somewhat love bomb Jason when asking for more investment. We await Steven's side. Okay, so this happens over the weekend, all right? And then the new development is that now Steven is filing a lawsuit. He is doing it against Intrepid's rogue board of directors. So over the weekend, we reported on the T-spill of Jason Karamanis. So this is over here at massivelyop.com. And so according to their allegations, Sharif fritted away millions of dollars in investments and had accrued like $140 million in debts while spending payroll money on his own house and refusing to cooperate with a restructure proposed by lead investor Robert Dawson. Okay, this name's important, okay? So Robert Dawson is proposing a restructure that would remove Sharif's control, a situation that supposedly led to the collapse of the company and mass layoffs. However, as we noted at the time, Karamanis' claims were made to a YouTuber, and now we're getting a lawsuit, okay? And another renewal from Skiffles, 52 months into VIP. Let me add it to the total. If you guys want to try to upgrade or gift members to get us closer to the weekly goal, you can always do that. And remember, upgrades, if you switch to like Member Plus or VIP, remember those count as a double. So if you're currently on a gifted and decide to upgrade, we count those twice. Anyways, so now we got a lawsuit, and it's from Steven. This is Steven. Y'all have Meyer in Kentucky? Yeah, we do. Mm-hmm. Let's see here. In the lawsuit filed this past weekend, Sharif is suing Dawson in addition to Ryan Ogden, Teresa Fett, Aaron Bartels, TFE Games Holding, and Intrepid itself in order to, quote, stop Intrepid's rogue board of directors from intentionally destroying the company, including through layoffs of nearly its entire workforce, through manufacturer crisis, and through bad faith foreclosures on secured loans. He alleges that the defendants intentionally sabotaged the studio to steal its assets, and that Dawson specifically tried to extort control over the company for his own financial gain. Okay, I'm just going to say, from 30,000 feet here, their claims about what he did with money and funds and his house and all of that, that feels really easy to prove. This feels more emotionally charged. This feels more like the guys over there at Build a Rocket Boy claiming that like Mind's Eye was sabotage or whatever. Like, this feels to me less concrete. And I'm not a lawyer, so I'm not making any sort of legal assessment here, anything like that. I'm saying the language used and the claims being made, it does sound like their claims against him, they just seem more believable. They seem more plausible, and like they could actually be something that actually took place. This just sounds like, oh yeah, they're bad, and they sabotaged it, and they were trying to steal assets and stuff like that. I think that's just going to be probably harder to prove. Like, I think the things that they're claiming about him will be very easy to prove. Like, the paper trail will be there. Here we go. Through repeated threats to withhold funding for payroll, to shut Intrepid down, to financially ruin plaintiff, and even to physically harm plaintiff, Dawson, redacted in the original, forced a corporate restructuring in May of 2024 that consolidated his voting power, elected himself to the board, and cherry-picked additional board members who would do his bidding. So again, this feels very, very conspiratorial, which obviously we were just talking about conspiracies. Like, they can happen. They can definitely happen, but this feels a little bit more conspiratorial, which makes it a little bit harder to believe. It makes it like, really? Like, wow, that seems kind of crazy that would, actually happen. So the filing even accuses the board of intentionally filing a false corporate disclosure listing with Sharif as the sole board member. Oh yeah, remember we saw this at the end of last year, and we're like, what was that all about? They were trying to find a buyer for the game of holding the company hostage through 2023 or 2024 as part of a ruthless campaign for control of the company and locking Sharif out of the company bank accounts in 2024, of defaming Sharif to gamers, and ultimately spending 2025 trying to provoke a foreclosure process that would create a new company, TFE Games Holding. I mean, shutting him out of the bank accounts could quite literally been because he was doing some of the stuff that they're alleging, right? Or they allege it and it's fake and it's a lie, and they're alleging it as an excuse for when they blocked him out. I don't know. Sharif also says that he never intentionally misappropriated funds from the company. He never intentionally did it, directly denying Karmanos' claims. He seeks damages and injunctive relief against what he characterizes as the defendant's effort to destroy the company from greed. The whole filing is 39 pages long, so enjoy the reading assignment for the afternoon, but we can tell you there are a few other bits of note. A major corporation tried to buy Intrepid in 2022 or 2023. Sharif suffered a serious ongoing health crisis where there were indeed board-ish meetings going on throughout January. Launch was supposed to happen in September of 2026. Steam cut ties with Intrepid at the top of February, and the claim that the current Intrepid owners are trying to talk former devs into returning to give them control over the tech is true. The drama continues. So it does not seem like the Ashes of Creation situation or the lawsuit or the drama is going to be over anytime soon. There's going to be lengthy litigation here. We have 2 different lawsuits alleging wrongdoing and, all sorts of things that apparently, allegedly happened, and we'll have to wait and see where it goes. Especially, if they're saying that it is in fact true that they're trying to bring people back to the company. I mean, to kind of like recoup everything or rebuild everything. I mean, that to me is interesting, if that's even a possibility at this point. That seems low on the possibility, but yeah. For sure, people buy houses with someone else's money by accident all the time. If this is how the org is structured, you can file a claim on behalf of the org or yourself, because it sounds like veil piercing is going to need to happen here as a shareholder. Yeah, I mean, as far as I can tell, they're alleging things that they would be able to prove fairly easily with the paper trail. He's alleging things that I think would be harder to prove. Like, they were trying to force me out, and they were trying to do this, and they were trying to do that. And it's like, okay. How do you prove that? You'd need that. I think that's harder to prove, honestly. I think that's harder to prove. The article doesn't do the actual lawsuit documents justice. It's going to be interesting, though, what happens over time. Yeah, I didn't go and read the 39-page document. Like, I don't do that. I don't do that kind of coverage. I did it during ABK, and I just don't really have any desire to do it now. I don't feel like reading through PDFs and trying to deduce what's happening legally. It's like, wow. the language he's using sounds more like inflammatory. It sounds more motivated to like provoke emotional response and support, versus like they're claiming homie used funds improperly. Like that's, I don't know. They feel like different claims to me. So we'll see. They all could have zero merit. They could just be, throwing stones from across the room. Layoffs have hit Ubisoft Toronto. About 40 people, 8% of the studio has been let go. Production on Splinter Cell Remake still continues, says Ubisoft. Throughout the game's development, it has had many red flags. I think those caught off guard by this. I wanted it to be real, more than a real understanding of what these types of games take to make. Guy alleging is going to need to ask for records. Anything pertaining to his role is fair game. Yeah. Did Fighting Cowboy indicate, does he know what version of the game he's going to be playing? I'm just going to assume these people that are going to this Crimson Desert capture event are going to be playing the PC version. I mean, that's just, at this point, I have no reason to think otherwise. Yeah. Yo, what's good, Dan? How are you? Yeah, so that's the situation with Ashes of Creation. I don't think there's much discussion to be had there. I do have a Starfield 2.0 story as well that I wanted to make sure and get in front of you, because I would say this is disappointing, but I really, really appreciate Todd Howard's candor here, okay? So as I said, I am disappointed in this, but I do appreciate Todd being honest about the fact that basically Starfield 2.0 does not exist. And the reason that a lot of us were using the Starfield 2.0 phrasing was mainly because it was like wishful thinking. I, for the longest time, said I would love for this game to get the Cyberpunkian turnaround and comeback story. I believe that they could, but the more I took like a straight face look at the game, especially when I went back to the game to try to get ready for the Shattered Space DLC, I just think the game oozes boredom. Like, I don't think it's a game that's ever going to appeal to me. If you like it, that's fine. I'm not trying to talk you out of liking it, but Todd Howard is very, very honest in this interview about Starfield 2.0 and how it's basically not a thing. There is an update coming. There is quality of life improvements and things like that. We also have it on very good authority, according to reliable leaker Shinobi, that in March it will be announced for PlayStation, and then I believe the current rumor, and many insiders have said, that Starfield is coming to PlayStation in April. Likely this update that is coming is intended to line up with that. So this is a Play Day 1 outfit here, article from them. These guys used to be Xbox era. And I want to go down here and just go to the section about Starfield 2.0 and just give you kind of the skinny on what he said. He says, obviously, we've been working a lot on Starfield content. We haven't talked about it yet. The end of last year for us was prickly. We have periods where we focus on IPs and franchises, and Fallout obviously dominated the fall and earlier this year, but you've seen it. And I can tell everybody we're going to be talking about it really soon. We're moving into a phase where we're going to be talking about Starfield and really show that in the right way. So what he's probably talking about is some type of an event or something that is going to take place in March. Probably the thing that that Shinobi was hinting at and talking about. I'm gonna make the text a little bit bigger for you guys. So that's probably going to be some type of an event or a direct or something. I don't know. Maybe just a trailer. Maybe they just do a vid doc and they just kind of talk about it. So here he says, though, he specifies, it is not Starfield 2.0. He says, I've seen some of that, and for expectation setting, I think it's the kind of thing where if you like Starfield, we think you're going to love this. It's updates and things that change the game, not in an isolated way, but, meta, using outer space and things in ways that we haven't. But if Starfield is something that you didn't connect with right away, or you bounced off of it, or found it boring in places, I don't think it's going to change that fundamentally. But if you're someone who loves Starfield, like you, Greg, and we think, we're really happy with it. So essentially what he's saying is, if you're already a fan of Starfield, like, this is sort of for you. This is targeting you. The dilemma with that is I don't think there are very many people that love Starfield. Go look at the user score on Steam and on Xbox. Now, I don't know if that's going to change dramatically when the game lands on PlayStation and people start playing it and reviewing it. Will they be able to smooth over enough of those rough edges that caused a lot of people to put the game down very, very quickly? It's easily the lowest scored and probably lowest engaged with Bethesda game like to date. You can go look at their classics. You can look like Fallout 4. You can look at Skyrim and Steam charts and things like that, and you can see that their games typically get like really, really long tail engagement and love. I had a guy respond to my video about saying like, listen, the fact that they're going to be doing like the Elder Scrolls 6 in the Creation Engine and they're not leaving it behind because they use Creation Engine for Starfield, the guy said that's part of the reason why people love Bethesda games. That's part of the reason why Bethesda games last so long. And I was like, but did people love Starfield? Did Starfield last a long time? Like if you look at the player numbers, if you look at the player reception, I don't think so. I think the dilemma with this update is I appreciate his candor, and at some level, I think he's right. I don't think they can fundamentally change the game and the flow and the missions. That's probably not possible. It's just too big. But it also means you're doing a pretty significant update, I think, for a pretty small number of people. Because the amount of people that love Starfield versus the amount of people that don't like Starfield, it's not really a great comparison. But for now, that's what we have to look forward to. But unfortunately, it is not Starfield 2.0. That's the story. That broke basically yesterday. That's the story. Look at the play numbers on mods and creations and your whole premise falls apart. No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. Starfield's numbers and review scores are terrible. What are you talking about? Like, I'm talking about the size of the people that love the game is not the majority. It's a much smaller group than their other games. Whether you compare it to like the number of people that have played and reviewed Fallout 4, the number of people that have played and reviewed Skyrim historically, like it's not even in the same ballpark. It is not in a great spot with the public. And Shattered Space certainly didn't help it. Like if you go to Starfield Steam charts right now, 3,000 people are playing. Engagement numbers? I know, I'm looking at the engagement numbers. Homie, this does not look to me like a game that has like the long tail engagement of a typical Bethesda title. I mean, all the way back here, you know, up in the 300,000s, obviously that was the peak. And then look how quickly it just settled into this flat line. I'm telling you, I do not think it's a large group. What are the Game Pass numbers? No. We're not talking about the Game Pass numbers. We are talking about the number of people who love the game. The user score on Xbox makes it very clear it's not a very large group. Starfield with Game Pass certainly allowed way more people to play it. It did. But if you go to the Starfield page on the Xbox storefront and you look at the review total, homie, it's a 68%. That is a terrible score for a game. That is horrible. I mean, that's 33,000 reviews. This game is not beloved. It's not popular. It doesn't have some big, huge engagement funnel of people playing it. I think it's great that they're standing by their product and they're improving it and they're making it better. Don't get it twisted. I think most of what they're doing for Starfield is an optics thing. I think it's a giant blemish on their company, and they want it to look more respectable on the road to Skyrim. That's what I think. On the creation stat page, you can see play numbers broken down by PC and Xbox. Okay. Would you say this is true or false? Starfield is on par with typical Bethesda games with respect to engagement, modding, and things like that? Or is it lower than the other games, historically speaking? Which do you think is true, that it's on par with those games or lower? I think even the most honest, most faithful, excited fans about Starfield will be like, oh no, engagement's lower. It's not even close. I never played it once. I've seen the loading screen flying into the planet, and I was like, yeah, stupid. I don't think that's nearly as big of a deal as the structure of the game. Like, loading into a planet really was like one piece of a bigger whole, I think. Someone tracked the trajectory of mods. On par, go check Morrowind. Homie, this is Fallout 4. You think it's on par? This is Fallout 4. It has 10 times the number of people playing it right now. 35,000 was the peak in the last 24 hours. 31,000 people are playing right now. 3,000 people are playing Starfield. 10 times the number of people are playing Fallout right now. Like, what are we even talking about? Same exact thing for Skyrim. Roughly 30,000 people are playing Skyrim right now. 10 times the number of people are playing Skyrim that are playing Starfield. Starfield's on par to pass Witcher on Nexus. Yeah, see, this you're basically conceding the argument. You're not engaging with the stats. You're talking about Nexus and Witcher 3 within Bethesda's library. Come on. What are we even talking about here? Like, the Oblivion remaster has roughly the same number of people playing right now, right around 2,000. I don't even know, are there, let's see. Yeah, Morrowind Steam charts are really, really low, but that's like, at this point, I would imagine that that's expected, right? That's like ancient in comparison. Fallout 4 and Skyrim both have 10 times the players. 10. Like, I don't know what to tell you, man. It's not comparable. It is not comparable. I'm talking about the increasing number of mods. Okay. So, let's go back to your original statement and let's just track the trajectory of this discussion, shall we? You said, look at the play numbers on mods and creations and your whole premise falls apart. So we go and we look at the Steam charts, we look at the engagement numbers, and we're like, it's a newer game and it's getting 1/10 of the engagement of Fallout 4 today and Skyrim right now. Like, so no, it's not on pace. It's doing significantly worse than those games. So no, my premise does not fall apart. The actual stats back me up on this. The user score and the user engagement with Starfield is like the lowest and the weakest that they've ever had compared to their other games. So to me, this thing that they're doing that's not Starfield 2.0, this update, this thing that they're doing that's for people that love Starfield, what I said still stands. That's like the smallest group of people. That's not a big group. The number of people that love Starfield versus the number of people that don't love Starfield, that didn't like it, that put it down, that didn't stay with it, that didn't stay the course, I don't know what to tell you. It's so clear to me that number one, and I appreciate Todd's candor. He's not acting like, oh yeah, this is going to turn the whole franchise around. This is going to get a bunch of people to come back and play Starfield. He's like, no, it's basically meant for people who already like it or who love it. And my point was, yeah, that's not a lot of people. But let me point out to a metric that I care about to prove my point, says Wired Rope. You ever played Brink the game? Yeah, Brink was pretty bad. Me and my friends played it. We were really excited for it, and it turned out it was freaking terrible. It was dadgum terrible, dude. My point is that you can see that the number of players on Xbox is multiple times larger than that on Steam. Okay. I don't think you've demonstrated anything that falsifies my claim that there are yeah. I just don't think so. I don't think you've demonstrated that it's a super popular game and the player numbers are strong and it's and like my claim was not that nobody's playing. My claim was if you're building this for people that like Starfield or that love Starfield, I think that that is a small group of people comparatively. Oh, here. I don't have the goal up. There we go. We're 7 away from 250. We're getting closer to 400 likes, so guys, make sure you're doing that. I pre-ordered Starfield. I got my refund once I saw streams of it. Glad I got my money back. Brink made me almost throw up. It had motion blur. I was sick to my stomach. Pretty sure they've already given up on Starfield. I mean, I would think that I don't think they've given up on it. I think that they've decided to put it into the best place they can. Okay. Put it in the best place that they can, and they want it to land about as strong as they can on PlayStation to basically make as much money as they can from it. Yeah, this guy here got a warning. He said, I got a warning from Twitch to make the chat separate. He said he was combining them into one. I also thought that it said that you couldn't show like YouTube chat on screen. He's saying he got a warning to make the chat separate. Big Fry stops by the show every now and again. I was actually going to tell him to be careful with that because he does the same thing when he multi-streams and he has it on the screen. That's actually like against Twitch TOS. So I love Skyrim, but Starfield is better because of genre. Chris Judge got a phone call. He says, let me be crystal clear. I have zero involvement with the original games and what they involve, full stop. As much as I would love that everything I do in the future would involve Sony Santa Monica and God of War, I have other projects that I'm super excited about. More info this summer. Yeah, he messed up. He messed up. Luke Stevens said the same thing. What did Luke Stevens say? Luke Stevens has both up. I'm going to snitch. I think you can have both up. I don't think they're supposed to be combined. It's literally in the TOS. I didn't think that you were allowed to show them at all. I didn't think that you were allowed to show the YouTube chat at all on Twitch. Luke Stevens has both combined on screen. Yeah, he could 100% get a nasty gram from Twitch for doing that. You're not. It's literally in Twitch's TOS. I think it's a weird rule, but it's a rule. So, I was using a combined chat app for a while there. I'm tempted to start using it again because a lot of the troubles and problems we were having with my stream, I don't think were related to that app. But I was trying to eliminate all possibilities because we were having all sorts of weird things happening. The micro stutter is still happening. So I'm still considering switching to a different rig. It's because of ban evasion. I don't understand what that means. The TOS says that you can't because they can't moderate that chat. That makes sense. I'm pretty sure TOS says that you cannot have it on screen. This guy's saying he got warned to separate them. So that, like, it would be obvious that one is Twitch and one is not. You know? Maybe that's what they're going for. Like, as long as it's obvious that, like, hey, all that stuff's set over there, that's a YouTube, and that's not purple. So they haven't given up. Todd didn't say anything to indicate that. I don't think they've given up. I think they're basically trying to put the game in the best light possible, and in as far as putting the game in the best light possible, I think they're wanting it to land in a strong way so that when they bring it to PlayStation, they can maximize how well it sells. After that, yeah, after that I would bet they're probably not going to do anything else with it. Which is interesting because they were saying things like, we've got like this long horizon. They were talking like 10 years or something like that with the game. That I don't think is happening anymore. Like, I think they'll divert resources and they'll kind of back off and they'll only do Elder Scrolls 6. That'll like be their main focus. Like, I don't think they're going to do anything. I don't think they'll do much with it after. So Game Rant gives the God of War game a 5 out of 10. I'm telling you, it's not any good, boys. Todd said more Starfield content is on the way, and even mentioned third-party studios. We know there's another DLC planned. They did indicate that, so I still think that's coming. What I'm saying is I don't know if it's going to be 10 years like they originally said. It landing on PlayStation, doing well, pushing out another DLC, maybe 2. I don't think it's going to get the 10-year treatment that he was talking about in that one interview. I just don't think so. It doesn't strike me as... Number one, it doesn't strike me as a possibility if they're all, if they're wanting Elder Scrolls 6 to land well and have as much of the bandwidth and the resources devoted to it. But, yeah, if partner studios pick it up and help add content, maybe. But, I don't know. He was talking in that one interview about, like, this is going to be like, like a 10-year horizon or whatever. I just don't know if that's happening anymore. I just don't know. Sucks they're prioritizing TV instead of getting a new Fallout game out. He also reaffirmed that they are improving the modding tools. I mean, that's all great because if we're honest, that's a great way for them to continue to make money from it because we know that like that environment can generate revenue for them. And it's way more inexpensive than shipping DLC, like after what happened with Shattered Space especially. But that's what Luke Stevens was saying yesterday. You have to separate the chats. It's Twitch not wanting it to be mixed up. Okay. As far as space games goes, it's one of the best ones on console. I enjoy the base game a lot, flaws and all. I was coming around and having a better time with it, and then I played Phantom Liberty. Like, you know what I mean? I think once I played something that just did a better job with a lot of those pieces and a lot of those parts, I don't know. The boat for Starfield is long gone. The 0.001% of gamers that play it can have fun, but it was meant to have like a 15-year roadmap of continuous mass support. When your game relies on community mods to make it a good game, that ain't good to me. Yeah, I've never been a big fan of that either. Yep. There's nothing like modded Starfield right now. I've seen the clips of like the Star Wars thing that they did, like that somebody put together. And it's impressive, but it also feels incredibly lifeless, and there's just something dated and very sort of like dead about it. I don't know. It looks really impressive, like they did really good work, but it literally looks like just like an asset dump inside of a lifeless world. Like the Star Wars stuff looks very impressive, like somebody obviously spent a ton of time on it, but there's just something very just lifeless about it, and I don't know. That's the best word I can come up with. That the engine itself, and this pertains to the Elder Scrolls 6 conversation, the engine itself just feels like it's just not going to translate to where we are now. You know what I mean? Like, I don't feel like Starfield did. We were told, like, Creation Engine 2.0, like, Starfield was going to be this this amazing thing and this triumph and all this stuff. I don't think that it was. I think Starfield looked and felt incredibly dated. It didn't look like a game from today. It didn't feel like a game from today. And I think the same thing's going to happen. I think the same exact thing's going to happen with the Elder Scrolls. I think they're going to be like, yeah, man, Creation 3.0. Creation 3.0 is all the rage. And then it's going to be like Creation 2.0. I don't think it'll be significant enough. Look at the latest No Man's Sky content coming. Yeah. It's such an unfair comparison, isn't it? I mean, I don't know. Hello Games is they're wizards, man. They're doing some crazy good stuff, and it feels and honestly, and I've said this many times, it feels like they literally built No Man's Sky 2 inside of No Man's Sky 1. Like, it feels like they built the sequel inside of No Man's Sky. It's like it's all the stuff that they're getting ready to basically do for Light No Fire. Yo, I am Melee with a Prime. Boom, 244. I am Melee with 50 months and a VIP on YouTube, 245. We are a 5-bomb away from 250. Somebody's got to slam this home. Tomorrow's going to be a tall order. You guys typically have been doing that. You all go crazy on a Friday to unlock Saturday, but it's going to be a lot. You're gonna need half of the goal in a single day tomorrow. And there it is. Wired Rope drops the 5-bomb on purple and gets us to 250. They built the spaceship in the air. I don't even know if I would say that necessarily. I feel like the engine question doesn't feel like a question anymore. It just feels like they don't have a choice. Like the institutional knowledge, their team makeup, the way their company is structured, I don't think they have a choice. It's like, nope, gotta keep using creation. You know? That's kind of how I see it. They literally don't have a choice. It's like, if we're actually going to make a game the size and the scope of Elder Scrolls, we got to use this engine. And unfortunately, I think that engine, when the game finally lands, I think that engine's going to look old and worn out. You know? Especially on these systems, landing on these current systems, or like, you know, a PS5 Pro or a good PC, or, you know, a PlayStation 6 or something like that. It's going to be like somebody wearing a really nice tuxedo to a wedding and they're wearing like old worn out sneakers. Like, it's just going to be so obvious. It's just going to be obvious. I think doing anything with Starfield is such a waste of bandwidth, this Chrono Shot. Those efforts should go towards new DLC for Skyrim, Fallout 4, and have the rest of the studio on the Elder Scrolls 6. I think it's a question of you know, having a pretty big blemish and just the optics You know, I think the optics of they need people to feel differently about them as a company going into Elder Scrolls 6. Like, I think that's one of the main reasons they're digging down and wanting to put Starfield back into a better place. They also want to sell it. They want to sell it. Search YouTube for modded Starfield 4K. I know that people can do impressive things with the mods. Like, I don't think you're proving anything. That's not the question. The question is not, can the game look impressive by somebody, you know, by somebody who's not at Bethesda? I mean, we know this is true. That's not the question. The question is, are they going to support it long term like they said they were going to for 10 years? I don't think so. I don't think they're going to do that. The mods are a crutch. The idea that it's okay for a game to do that, to like lean heavily on mods and let the community do all that stuff, like, I think all that's fine, but that doesn't convince me. That doesn't change my mind about anything. If modders can do it so easy, why doesn't Bethesda do it? I have said for a very long time that it's a question of priority. I don't think it's a priority at the company. It's textures that the consoles can't handle. Well, no, not always. There are a handful of mods that hit Starfield within a week that could totally run on a console. Like, there are games on the consoles right now. You can boot up a game on the Series X, you can boot up a game on the PS5 or the PS5 Pro that look 1,000 times better than Starfield. Even, you know, you got your Starfield mods, sure, you're going to load in things that maybe you can't really, you know, put on a console or something. That's not the issue. The issue is that the game itself just isn't. It's not a priority from them to make their games look very pretty. It's just not something that they care about. Lots of games like City Builders and Civ have very active mod scene, but it feels different for Bethesda games. Yeah. We have a couple of questions that I want to get at, and we're probably going to call it. It's 1 o'clock. We've been streaming for almost 4 hours. I don't want to belabor the point. If there's other things you guys want to discuss and talk about, sometimes you guys extend. I'd be happy to do that if you guys start going on a little tear here. If you get it, you know, if you can get us to a certain threshold here, you know, we can extend the stream. But I do want to get these questions up on the board for people that submitted them. Lightleaf says, do you think Destiny 3 story should continue the story of D2 in a different solar system, for example, or maybe take us back to a different time, like Destiny Rising, Returning to the Light? I actually walked through this earlier. I don't think Lightleaf was here. I think you would have us die, and then 300 years later or something, you do the nostalgic sort of like a ghost wakes you up, and you'd have a whole new setup. I also said that it'd be cool if something else woke us up. Not the light, not a traveler, but something that we weren't really thrilled about being woke up by. You could create this sort of internal tension from the very beginning of like, we've got this power and we can use this power to stop bad things from happening, but we're attached to something dark. That could be at the beginning of a new saga of we're basically somehow corrupted and yet still trying to be a guardian. So... and Spice King said, what do they have planned for Starfield 2.0? We just kind of walked through it. There is no such thing as a 2.0. It's a big update coming, but it's intended to mainly target people who already enjoy the game. And then a question here from Christopher Burnett. With Christopher Judge's recent comments, are we really getting another God of War announcement this summer? 3 in 1 year is crazy, but I'm here for it. Yeah, I'm going to take a look at everything that he said and maybe do a video about it. I'm actually pretty excited based on some of the things that he said, making me a little bit more interested in the remakes, but that's probably a topic for another day. So we hit 250. I think it's a solid way to go into Friday. I'll give you guys 5 minutes. If you guys want to scramble and do a train, we can keep going. If not, we're going to go to the Discord. So the Discord is where we hang out for Green Room. I'll also put a link in chat. If you missed our PlayStation video yesterday, I think something happened on the platform. Even my short acted kind of funny yesterday. It's saying that our subscribers aren't watching, which makes no sense. It's a PlayStation video. Like, you guys typically respond to PlayStation content. So I think something may have happened. I don't know if it pushed the video out to everybody. And so when we shut down here, I'll give you guys a link to it. If you watch any of my uploads on mobile, be sure to use that hype feature. That's like super helpful to a video. Hype it, like it, leave a comment, share it. It's a super short video about the PlayStation 6 and the leaks and the way that people are like already fighting. What's the Ashes of Creation update? I already walked through it. There's 2 lawsuits going on, one against Steven, the CEO, one from him against the board. They're both arguing basically like business malpractice, either mishandling of funds or trying to, shut the studio down and all sorts of stuff. So they're both making claims. We're not going to know anything for a while, is what it seems like to me. So I definitely did not see the vid in my feed. I could tell that something was wrong. I'm like, this is a topic that I know my audience is interested in. It's about the PlayStation 6 and the leaks and RDNA 5. So I'm going to go ahead and put the link in chat right now for you guys. Do me a favor before you head to Green Room. Make sure you give it a watch and a like. And if you watch it again on mobile, hype it up. And then share it if you've got people that you think would be interested in it. It's like less than 5 minutes. It's a super short video, but I think it's important about the conversation going forward about the PlayStation 6 and RDNA, so we don't go through the same nonsense that we did last time. So use that link in chat. It's a very quick one, and then head over to the Discord for the Green Room. Thanks, guys, for a great day, great conversations. You can also hit the like button on the way out. All right? I'll either see you in the Green Room or I'll see you tomorrow. All right? Click that link in chat. Help us out. All right? See ya.